Lon Helton inviting you to join me as I count down the week's top 30 with my co-host Luke Bryan, who just opened his own bar right here in Nashville.
It's been 10 times more fun having that than I thought it would be. I've always kind of been a foodie. We were able to make a sushi bar.
That's Luke Bryan this week on Country Countdown USA.
Country Countdown USA, Wednesday afternoons at 1 o'clock on Carolina Country, 92.3 FM, 1590 AM, WCSL, and online at kdcbroadcasting.com.
Say, kids, what time is it?
This is the 60s.
Hey, J.J. Wilson here, reminding you to tune in this weekend for This is the 60s, featuring the best music from the best decade and so much more. There's 60s television, movies, news, pop culture, trivia, novelty songs, interviews, deep cuts, and a whole lot more. It's peace, love, and rock and roll on This is the 60s.
This is the 60s, Friday mornings from 10 a.m. till 12 noon on the Balls. WOHS, AM and FM in Shelby, WLON in Lincoln.
3 wide now with Denny Hamlin to the bottom.
The NASCAR Xfinity Series.
Leaning on each other.
The race to the playoffs rages into Darlington.
Tradition and history come to the fore.
Has NASCAR's rising stars.
Cole Custer starting to feel some heat from Justin Allgaier.
Fend off a host of Cup Series moonlighters.
Textbook pass by Kevin Harvick.
The Sport Clips Haircuts VFW 200.
Sideways, he loses it.
Saturday at 3 on the Motor Racing Network.
The Sport Clips Haircut. You've got them all at Renato Auto Mall in Shelby. They've got Ford, Chevrolets, Buicks, Toyotas, Nissan. They are now your SUV headquarters. Over 50 to choose from, new and used, all makes, all models, and 10 to choose from, priced at under $10,000 at Renato Auto Mall, 4423 East Dixon Boulevard in Shelby, online at RenatoAutomall.com. When you shop our local advertisers, be sure to tell them you heard it on the radio. That way they'll know that their radio dollars they spend works for them and you too. Even in today's fast-moving world, radio remains the leading media to reach more people. 93% of Americans listen to AM/FM radio over the air. TV viewership is 89%, smartphone use is 83%, and personal computer use is 50%. So if you're a business owner, reach more people with the power of radio. If you don't tell it, you can't sell it. See the power of radio. WOHS Shelby, WLON Lincoln, WCSL Cherryville. Online at kdcbroadcasting.com.
Check out the great rates at Pine Mountain Golf Course. Play and ride weekdays for only $21. Seniors play and ride weekends for just $18. Or you can play and ride all day weekdays for only $28. Seniors can play and ride all day on weekends for $25. Make your tee time today by calling 828-433-4950. You'll love this challenging 18-hole par 68 course. The Pine Mountain Golf Course, adjacent to South Mountain State Park. Again, call 828-433-4950 for your tee time.
Man, I only do things incredible can, cause I am the seed of a chosen breed. You don't see too many like me, cause I am one of the reasons you do what you do when you wanna be me instead of you, cause I am still on beat, showing love to the streets. Come on, you know me, cause that's who I am.
And good morning, Kevin Hastings, along with Carson Dockery, Texas Terry Reinhardt. JP's on the controls, and Hunter is not with us this morning. Terry, he's not going to make it. I just got off the text with him. He had too many brownies at Lincoln last night, and so he yeah. Well, he didn't say that. He said he wasn't feeling good this morning. My response was,
that's what that means.
My response was, Hunter, I know they got a nice spread at Lincoln. My guess is you got to stop eating a whole tray of brownies.
I think it was one of them things. The game was so intense, and the score was so intense, and he was just continuously eating and biting his nails, and you know what I'm saying?
He's got a belly full of nails.
Yeah.
8-7. North Gaston Squeaks went out there and Lincoln and Terry. That would have been up there with the upset of the night if they could have held on to that, right? And then Burns, 32-14 upset of the night for a lot of people, although some people in this studio picked the game before the picked that before the game started last night. West Lincoln 48-7 victory over Cherville on KTC. But, yeah, that Lincoln and North Gaston game, Terry, Lincoln almost pulled it out there.
Yeah, they come down to the end. I mean, you got North Gaston scoring lots of points, and we kept saying here, I don't think neither one of them could stop each other. I mean, and then all of a sudden you got an 8-7 game, and they score with, 4 minutes to go, so 5 minutes, somewhere in that area to take the lead, 8-7. And then they went for 2, so, I mean, hey, how would you put that? As a coach, you're going to feel good if it happens, and your people are going to say, why did we do that if it doesn't?
Yeah, I mean, North Gaston is, like you said, Terry, I believe at the Jamboree, a kicker is as big a weapon on, a high school football team as just about any position. And North Gaston, when they scored, you knew they were either going to win or lose because they're not going to kick. Yeah. They were going to go for 2. So, I mean, at least, that gives you an exciting end to a game, but I mean, as good for E.J. Man-Harris getting his first high school football touchdown pass.
Yes, it was.
Almost got his first high school touchdown win, too. It's so close at home. Yeah, I'm sure he's feeling a lot better as far as the offense goes and the team. The defense got to feel way better. North Gaston came in this game averaging,
55 points.
Yeah, and then Lincoln holds them to 8. Lincoln gets the touchdown, the extra point. Mangeris on the pass. But the fact that he threw a touchdown and they didn't run that in, Terry, or it was against the backups or anything like that, that gives them some things for other teams to look at and stuff. You talk about the West Lincoln hitting them with the passes. Burns surprised Shelby early with a pass out of that offense. These offenses that don't, and the South Point offense that don't pass much, when they do, if they're effective, it's big, isn't it?
It is, and it was a games last night. I'm just going to go over the whole board, as I'm looking across it. But there were games last night. I don't know whether it was the lightning delay that messed people up or the thunder that messed people up, but a lot of games moved back, and it changed. It changed how the games come out because we all had it figured, well, this is pretty simple. They'll win. Yeah. I mean, speak of another one. Speak of Chase over Bessemer City with ease. Yeah. And for me, I would have never said that. But Chase jumps up and plays like we thought they could play at the start of the year and rebounds. But games last night, I mean, we always have to understand when we're doing games, and even me when I'm doing, I say optimist all the way up, every day is different. Yeah. These are young kids. They think different every day. They might do one thing one day and you say, hey, man, that's a good kid right there, and then do something opposite the next day. But you have to go play the game. And last night we had a lot of games who were, oh, man, I cannot believe that happened in that game. But
I think you're exactly right. Terry, let's run through the board. How about that? I'll start with this front board. All these games were on KTC Broadcasting last night, starting with the Burns Bulldogs coming out with a big win over Shelby, 32-14. And, I mean, Terry, we talked to Jeff Jones last night in the pregame show, and you talked about how streaky this series is. You think Burns starts to get on a roll maybe here with Shelby? Shelby, they're not the team that they normally are this year. Burns is sort of on the come-up. I mean, maybe this is, one of those streaks where it starts to go 3 or 4 years where Burns is able to handle Shelby.
It's one of those things, and I'm going to tell you what. Congratulations to Coach Devine.
Oh, yeah. That's
congratulations to Tom Sanafani and now that's doing the game.
Tom texted us at like 1:30 in the morning. I was like, man, Tom's not going to sleep all night tonight. There's no way.
But a big win, like you said, 32-14 over Shelby. We even had some people call in, and, I mean, and that's how it goes. I mean, when you go to Cleveland County football, every game they play amongst each other.
It's big.
Yeah, it is. And when you take and everybody said, well, there's no way Burns can beat Shelby, and then it happens, people on the opposite side are mad, and they're like, fire the coach. Get rid of the coach right now, because we cannot lose to Burns, and that's how it is. I mean, I understand that, and I'll continue, as I always said here, and I know people heard me say this a million times. When I had Coach Chris Norman in here, and I asked him one day, and we were on the air, and I said, Coach, what's the biggest thing that you can do? Either beat Cleveland County or win a state title, and he was like, "Oh my goodness!" He says, "I wish you hadn't asked me that question."
Yeah, that's how. Yeah.
Because that's how big it is up here in Cleveland County.
Yeah.
You know, he said, "I know I'd like to have the state title, but losing to all your county teams, people's like, well, so you win a state title, but you cannot beat anybody here."
Yeah, that's almost like just a concession at that point.
It is.
I mean, that you're exactly right, Terry. That's wild to think about. All right, now jumping down to West Lincoln and Cherryville, the Rebels coming out with a big 48-7 win over Cherryville. That was, as you mentioned, Terry, the first time they had met, both of them 2-0. But West Lincoln comes out a 48-7 win, and I mean, you know, obviously that running game had to be going pretty well last night for the Rebels.
Yes, it was. Fansuk and Eichert both had big games over 140, 150 yards for both of them. But the biggest play, the first drive down the field for West Lincoln hits a pass from Seth Willis to Hatcher. And when they did that, I looked at Andre right then, because me and him had a little small wager. But I told Andre, I said, uh-oh, this is not good. You know, because if you're completing passes, that opens up your running game.
Yeah.
And Seth Willis was only threw 7 passes, but he is 5 out of 7 for the game. So congratulations to West Lincoln on a win. For Coach Pruitt, though, and I will go back to plays, and if he calls in, we'll go over this. But there are plays during games, and I know people say, well, this happened in the second quarter. This is probably the play that won it when it's 14-0. My biggest play come right at the start when West Lincoln had scored to go up 7-0. West Lincoln kicked off to Cherryville. They run it in, but then they had a personal foul called against them that brought the ball back, and they took the points off the board, and then, you know, it went from there. But, you know, sometimes big plays happen in the game, early, late, whatever, but this one happened early.
All right, now wrapping up that first board, we talked about it a little bit. North Gaston 8, Lincoln and 7. Obviously, that one as a shutout the majority of the game, and then gets into the fourth quarter. It gets a little interesting. And Terry, we talked about it. We thought this was going to be a high-scoring game. It turns out to be the exact opposite, but North Gaston's still able to come out on top.
Well, that just shows how much I know. I'm not going to say for y'all, but my own opinion.
I don't make picks.
I mean, you know.
Which game did you pick? Which one?
We're talking about North Gaston and Lincoln. Okay. I mean, thank God I don't make picks.
I mean, we sat back saying neither one of them would be able to stop each other. We had to score like 40-some, 30-some.
So y'all took the over.
Yeah, we went over.
Y'all took the over.
I'm glad we didn't bet our house or nothing. That's exactly right.
Now that gambling's legal, Terry does not condone betting. But if you want to win a diet,
if you're of age,
if you want to win a diet soft drink or two, he might bet one on that. Shelby and Burns got a little quick note from some of the Burns crew last night, Terry, that you know they got a good nap in today, and they're wide awake and ready to go again. It's a nice Saturday. Hey, if I was a Burns fan this morning, I would go to every yard sale in Shelby.
Yeah, boy.
Wouldn't you be up first thing this morning? I'd hit up every yard sale in Shelby.
Walking around in that Columbia blue and yellow.
I'd eat breakfast twice. When it's breakfast, I'd eat breakfast at 5 and lunch and brunch at 10. And stop by, see all my friends in Shelby. Is that how it's done, Terry? Get some ice cream this afternoon.
Let me tell you something about your yard sale. You pull up there and it's something that's 50 cents. Guess what? It's just now $5.
All of a sudden, yeah. Let me slap a zero on there.
Yeah, the price for Burns fans just went up at the yard sales in Shelby.
But I will say, we got a couple texts, and number one, first of all, Tom Centofanti, I know he's listening, but first thing he puts out here last night was wow.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you know, congratulations, Tom, to you young men over there. And he said it's a little hard to unwind after that, you know. And then he said he answered your question. He said he slept a couple hours last night.
Just a couple.
So there you go.
Yeah, he got a basically like you said, Kevin.
Well, I bet he had more than the kids did. I would imagine they've been probably up texting and Instagramming. And
all of them were drinking last night.
God, Terry,
drinking water, staying hydrated.
So silly. Burns, you know, I actually picked them in the pregame 14-10. I'll be honest.
You did. You absolutely did.
I did not think it would be 18, but things get out of hand sometimes in the games, and you trying different things and other you know, if you know the other team's passing. I just, you know, it's not that I thought Burns would win. I just went ahead and out on a limb. I thought they were vulnerable enough I thought Shelby's vulnerable enough, and then I saw enough from Burns and the Jamboree on defense to say, you know what, if Shelby does have a turnover or if something happens, and they don't get enough, put their points on the board. So, you know, last year, Terry, it was the end of their championships, and, you know, what was our point the whole year? There's no Jaden Borders out here.
Yeah.
There's no game breaker. The defense was still there. Now the defense might not be as good as it was. You lose an All-American linebacker that's starting as a freshman for Virginia Tech.
That's
you know,
tough.
that's going to make a difference on defense, and then you lose a lot of that. You lose your offense, and now you've got some inexperience at a lot of key positions, and you add this, and then you go against these good defenses. It's early in the season, and I want to talk about that a little bit too as well. The defenses are always usually ahead of the offenses. Look at North Gaston Lincoln and what happened in Game 3 all of a sudden for Lincoln. And when you start watching college football these next 3 weeks and NFL in these next 3 or 4 weeks, think about that early. Pick the defenses maybe early on as opposed to the offenses.
Well, you know, you're speaking of defenses. Shelby's defense still was not bad.
Yeah.
I mean, because these last 2 touchdowns Burns has were interceptions.
Right.
That went back. So Shelby's defense had them in the game.
It was 20-14.
Yeah,
right.
That's what I'm saying. They were still in and had an opportunity to win,
Well,
and then
their
2
scores-
interceptions that went back, you know, made the score 32-14.
Well, their early scores as well, Terry. Well, you know, they hit them on the big pass play, and if you were watching, the wide receiver just beast mode the last 5 yards in the end zone, Carson. It was an awesome play, and then they hit them on the inside. Was it the inside draw? Is that? You were at West Lincoln. I mean, you were at the Cherville game, West Lincoln game when that happened. They were running the wing too, and I think it was the inside draw Andre was talking about that you guys were running up at West right from the wing spot. That's what they ran up the middle, and the big kid for Burns, he found a crease and he was gone. He blew by the DBs, and you just like, okay, nice play. And they ran it a bunch of times later, you know. You know, once you blow it up for 75 yards or something, they know it's coming later. But they still, they were running that play well, and a couple of those plays, you know, they'd get the 8 yards at a time with some of those. So their offense was, I think they're all, you know, everybody wants to talk about their offense. I think for them running that offense now, it looked pretty good.
Yeah, no, I mean,
but you were talking that Shelby didn't shut them down. I thought they were running better than what it was. I mean, yeah, they had 20 points basically on the offense with some big plays.
And again, to what me and Carson talked about at the start, we're still learning teams.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, we saw Burns get crushed by Alexander Central and then turn around and win this game.
Yeah.
You know, and you kind of said here, is Shelby as bad as what I thought? No, their defense is pretty good. Their offense is not producing. Their offense is making mistakes.
Yeah, that's exactly
that's putting
right.
their defense in bad situations. And you, like the game last night, and you go on over to the board, and we're getting ready to do it here in a second. Chase beats Bessemer City. I mean, all of us would have thought, Chase is good. We're giving them a lot of credit. You got to learn how to win. Well, you know what? Last night they turned that around against Bessemer City and beat them 38-7. And 1 week we see Bessemer City get beat by Cherville. Then they turn around the next week and pound somebody, and then turn around this week and not show up again. You know, so, I mean, these are high school kids.
Yeah.
You know?
And for the most part, none of them's been in class yet. Some of them have,
this is the first week,
and
First
some of
week.
them haven't, and that's crazy right there. We're going to get some of the yardage and news and notes and from some of the other games and everything. I want to go over some of these other ones too. Other notes. Did any of you guys pick Huss to win at Clover or win versus Clover at home?
Carson
I
did.
don't make picks, man. I'll take that. I'll take that one along. I don't make picks.
Did Shannon or I guess Shannon or Terry did not pick the Clover Eagle? I mean Huss to win those. Do y'all remember?
I think Shannon did.
Did Shannon pick
Terry?
Huss?
Did you pick? I'm pretty sure you picked Clover, didn't you, Terry?
I picked Clover. I sure
Shannon
did.
might do something crazy like that.
I said it would be close, but I took Clover.
Yeah.
I think I even wrote on the board I had Clover winning by but a high scoring game like 45-35 or 40-30. Huss gets in a lot of those. Seems like Huss plays a lot of the overtime games in the last few years. A lot of those back and forths.
It does. Well, second year in a row they played Clover in overtime.
Sure
too,
is.
So.
And then so you know Huss now. We're going to talk about our power poll in just a little bit.
Speaking of that, though, Kevin, that series is 1, 1, and 1.
That is,
there you go.
That is nice and symmetrical.
That's how easy you can get.
Hey,
it's a rivalry.
That's the that's the new Bessemer City Cherville right there, Terry.
Terry, we got to come up with a name for that
Clover.
one. The Clover Huss rivalry. Battle of 321.
Well, Battle of the States. We could name it anything.
Border
You
War.
know, that's it.
Yeah.
I don't have time to put for the creative name for that. It's too early after that last night. North Lincoln, 22-9 victory. Terry, is that a surprise, or tell us some? You had some weird, funny stats on that before the game.
It was when they come into this game. Fred T. Ford, as a team, had never lost to North Lincoln. There's 3-0 all time. But on the opposite side of it, Coach Nick Basil, that coaches at North Lincoln, had never lost to Fred T. Ford. So we knew going into this game one of them was going to have to break. So Coach Basil now goes to 6-0 when he was at North Newton Conover, 1-0 at Alexander Central, and now 1-0 at North Lincoln. He is 8-0 all time versus Fred T. Ford.
Not bad.
All right, we got to take a break. We'll be back in just a few minutes on KTCBroadcasting.com.
They've got them all. At Renato Auto Mall in Shelby, they've got Ford, Chevrolets, Buicks, Toyotas, Nissans, Hondas, Kias, GMC trucks, and more. What are we talking about? We're talking about the huge used car selection at Renato Auto Mall. Before you buy, come see Renato Auto Mall in Shelby. And they are now your SUV headquarters. Over 50 to choose from, new and used. All makes, all models, and 10 to choose from, priced at under $10,000 at Renato Auto Mall. 4423 East Dixon Boulevard in Shelby. Online at RenatoAutomall.com.
Is the cost of ink driving your profits down? Then listen up. Discount Ink Jet and Toner is here to help. Discount Ink Jet and Toner specializes in refilling ink jet and toner cartridges. Cut your ink costs by as much as 50% or more. Discount Ink Jet and Toner, located on 410 East Franklin Boulevard in Gastonia. 100% satisfaction guaranteed.
At Stanbridge Auto Parts in Shelby, you'll find a variety of domestic and foreign used auto and truck parts. They can even ship your part right to your front door. Shop their eBay store with over 10,000 parts and ask about their Interstate Battery Special for just $45 with your exchange. That's right, only $45 with your exchange. Visit the website for more information at StanbridgeAuto.com. Stanbridge Auto Parts, 1521 Sulphur Springs Road in Shelby, serving this area since 1972.
Isolated and alone?
That's how millions of Americans feel while experiencing a mental health crisis.
Need to talk? Our providers love to listen.
Call us now at 1-888-235-HOPE.
That's 1-888-235-4673.
Partners, improving lives and strengthening communities in North Carolina. 1-888-235-HOPE. 235-4673.
Good morning. I think everybody's done with their breakfast. Terry, what'd you have this morning from Mitchem's Kitchen?
I'm gonna tell you what, I was so hungry. As soon as I got
I don't
in the
think
car,
Terry's food was gone
mine was
before
gone.
I got here.
You ate it in the car on the way
I
here.
was on the way.
Terry
Before I got halfway here, mine was gone.
Who knows what else he ate on the
That's
way
what
over
I'm
here?
But it was liver mush, bologna on a bun with some mayonnaise.
Plus a jelly biscuit and a cinnamon twist. Excuse me. Good morning, everybody. Mitchem's Kitchen breakfast. I had an egg and cheese biscuit. Carson Dockery.
Oh, the classic liver mush, egg and cheese on a bun.
Hunter, I'm gonna enjoy your egg and cheese later, I guess, or somebody is. JP, what are you working on in there this morning? I saw you got a biscuit in there. You actually kept Calvin from stealing.
Yeah, I'll be in just a minute. I'll be heating up my sausage and cheese on a biscuit.
Thank you for everybody up in Mitchem's Kitchen for breakfast every Saturday, as usual. Our title sponsor, of course, Campers Inn of Kings Mountain and RV. Get out there and see them today. Out there in Kings Mountain, right off the I-85 exit there behind the McDonald's. We're going to look at our power poll in just a few minutes. We're finishing up some of the scoreboard table. I think we're at Polk County RS Central, guys.
Well, we're right here on the second board. We haven't went
Oh,
down
we
yet.
ain't got that far.
That's
Yeah,
right.
man.
Go ahead,
We've
Terry.
been going over the first games.
Yeah.
But anyway, on board number 2, Ashbrook defeats East Lincoln last night 30-14. And East Lincoln, here we are again. You know, the offense is struggling again. You know, the defense is not playing bad, but we even said yesterday Ashbrook has some athletes, and you know, and that's what I even picked Ashbrook to win.
Well, and that game got started slow. I mean, I think at halftime Ashbrook was on top 3-0. So I mean, obviously,
Most
41 points in the second half. I mean, that's a big explosion.
Second game, Chase over Bessemer City, 38-7. I think a lot of us would have said if Chase had won and it was close, but I'm very surprised with the score, 38-7.
Me too.
It was Stuart Kramer having no trouble with East Gaston, 56-18. South Point runs their overall record against Forest View to 20-2 as they defeat them 46-20. And a big win for the Hunter Huskies, a 21-14 win over Clover in overtime. The series now is all tied 1-1. And Hickory playing Newton Conover, we put out there, and me and Shannon all said athletes against athletes in that game, and Hickory showed they were the best of it. Hickory 35, Newton Conover 6.
Moving over to the next board, it was Kings Mountain shutting out T.C. Robertson 55-0 without Raquelin Mack. North Lincoln, as you mentioned, Terry, getting their first win as a team over Fred T. Ford 22-9. East Rutherford with a squeaker over South Caldwell 41-35. Speaking of another close one, RS Central 13, Polk County 12. And I mean, Terry, that was a game that we talked about. It was that was a toss-up. I felt like going into that one.
It was, and RS Central scored in the fourth quarter to take the lead. They were down 12-6.
Now moving on to Maiden and Bunker Hill, the Blue Devils shutting out Bunker Hill 49-0.
Only had 6 points scored against them all year so far.
Not bad, not bad. And then rounding out that board, Watauga 58 and Avery County 7.
Over on our far board, it was Thomas Jefferson 56, Chatham Central 14. It was Highland Tech against South Davison. Highland Tech wins 51-0. Congratulations to Highland Tech. It was Lake Norman Charter defeating Community School of Davison 30-10. Mountain Island Charter over Graham 68-8, and it was Piedmont over Union Academy 47-9.
Well, Terry, you know, looking on that last board, Highland is going to play Lake Norman Charter, and obviously, you know, Highland's got a new coach, Coach DeLeo. He's coming from Harding, where they won a state championship last year. He put the wing T offense in at Highland, and it's something that's it's stuck, and it's Highland's got a couple of good athletes, and it's really sort of hard to put some of them in position. And you know, I mean, you've got guys that are good running the ball, but you might, you know, put them at quarterback in some cases if you're Highland, but they've got a good quarterback in Caleb Hill. They've got good running backs, Jeremiah Wallace and Caleb Foster. So Highland Tech, you know, maybe it's time for them to get their second conference win as a school.
Yes, it is, and for them, congratulations to them, a big win for them. Plus, you're talking about new coaches doing good things there, Bandies.
Yeah.
Coach Earns over there is doing a good job over there.
Well, you can listen to the Highland Tech Rams October 19th, Week 10, against Coach Pruitt and the Cherville Ironman, and we've got him on the phone right now. They fought against the West Lincoln Rebels last night. Big win for the Rebels. Coach, you guys started off 2-0 this season, first time since 1985. Congratulations on that. This was the first time you guys, I didn't know if you knew, had ever met, where both of you guys were undefeated going into the game, and but not your guys' night here in Cherville.
No, it wasn't. I didn't know that stat. I saw Terry before the game, and he didn't bother to tell me that.
That was quick, Coach. You had a lot of other things going on to do.
It was. Well, you know, prior to the game with the lightning delay, there's a lot going on. And, you know, I'm one to give the kids their space a little bit, trying to get them ready. And as I told them, I said, hey, when we come out here, we want to play well. If we don't play well, the next time we have a lightning delay, it might be more what Coach Pruitt wants than what you want. And honestly, when I watched the film last week, I saw us have a lot of mistakes in our blocking. But this week, I thought our blocking in the first half was a lot better. But I think our mistakes more were hitting holes and holding on to the football, little mistakes, penalty here, drop ball there. We moved the football, but we had real trouble in stopping them, and that's a red flag, particularly with y'all talking about Highland Tech running a wing T offense. So we got lots to improve upon, and a drone team that scored their first points of the year last night, and they're going to look at that score, and they're going to watch that film and say, look, guys, we can be as competitive with them. We were as competitive with West Lincoln as Cherville was with West Lincoln. That's the game we got to win. So we got to go get ready for a game, and it's Labor Day weekend, so get to practice a little later on Monday than we've been doing and see if we can improve. But congrats to to all the guys at West Lincoln, I thought they did a great job. Coach Sane and those guys do a great job. I just, wish we could have played a little bit better and made it more competitive.
Well, Coach, I'm going to mention one thing, and that's what I kept going over. I know how a lot of times in games, whether it's football, basketball, baseball, whatever, there are plays that happen. And I know at the very start of that game, after West Lincoln had scored on a pass play from Willis to Hatcher, and then they kicked off to y'all, and y'all run that kickoff back for a touchdown and end up with a personal foul that brought it back. I thought that was very critical because at that time you had West Lincoln like, hey, we're going to play with you, step for step. And sometimes, and I know that's early in the game, but sometimes plays can change everything.
They can, and on that play, I'm looking at it, and when I saw it, I saw the kid block, and I saw the kid go down, and I knew it was behind the play. I mean, we try to talk to kids about that. But last week on a play against Chase, we blocked a field goal, and Quest took it back 80 yards and almost scored a touchdown on it. But we had one kid on that play make 2 really good blocks, and we praised that. It just so happened that was the same kid that's trying to make a block on that play. And, the officials told me, Coach, he's 15 yards behind the play. On film, he's 5 yards behind the play. I mean, our kid's going down the sideline. But he did block the guy in the back, so penalty's a penalty, and our kids need to understand, hey, we get out in the open, we need to put our hands up and hopefully go down there and celebrate with the guy, because I didn't think anybody was going to catch Jason. They did right on the goal line, and he scored. But, we returned the opening kickoff to what, Terry, the 45?
You did. You sure did.
Opposite 45, and then we dropped the first snap of the game, and we ended up, I think we got a first down, and then we ran a play, we ran a couple packages that we hadn't run, and we ran a play that we thought was a good play, and we just had a misread. Last week, Dylan started off the game 0 for 5 and finished the game 7 for 9. So the consistency part of that is something we really have to keep working on and stressing, and just the consistency of every phase, not just the offense, defense, but also the kicking game. And, after we had that play, we still had the ball at about the 40-yard line, and I believe we broke off about a 10-yard run, but we fumbled. So 2 plays later, they're getting the ball at midfield, and then they're going down and scoring just a couple plays later. And that's the thing I think defensively that I'm most concerned with, is just us giving up too many chunk yardage plays. Seth made a great play, and man, that kid made a great catch. I didn't know number 12 catch the ball like that. And then the running game, we just really struggled with keeping them contained, keeping them from running north and south, and it showed as the game wore on. And once you have that happen, then things got a little bit out of control in terms of the score. But we had some time. I mean, second quarter, I think we was inside the 30-yard line twice and come away with nothing. So those little things make a huge difference.
Coach, last night was last night. So in coach speak, in terms, you got to look forward to next week, and especially with Monday off, like you said. Looking forward to drawing. What are you guys are looking at and going forward in practice this week?
Well, just getting better. I mean, each day is another opportunity, and we do have, since West played drawn first, we will end up having all of their games. So we're just getting ready for an opponent that's got a new coach and gradually getting better. As I talked to Coach Powell, I think I talked to him Thursday, just trying to line some stuff up. He was like, man, it's tough, start from scratch here, and we haven't scored, and we've done that. We've been outscored. He said, just trying to get the kids to buy in that we're doing things the right way. So, when you start out 2-0, everything's easy and good. But the glaring things that we need to correct, obviously, are there after a game like last night. So we just got to get back to work, and we got one more opportunity to get better before our conference season, and we do have an open week after the John game. But, I hadn't really checked a lot of scores last night. I don't know how our conference did. I think I saw the Bessemer City score. But other than that, I mean, I don't know how the other teams in our conference did and how they fared. I heard y'all say the Highland Tech score. So congratulations. I look forward to meeting those guys on that staff. And I think, last night their first game?
It was,
yeah. First game last night. And Carson was there, at the game to see them,
Yeah, that's pretty odd to see. But you know, we got to get some guys healthy. Chapel Moss didn't play last night. I think, you know, him being in the backfield creates some stability because he's got that experience, and not having him back there, we really played last night with 3 backs, and Matt Kane came out, and he's been on that ankle, and he was able to give us a lot in the first half, but being at halftime, that ankle had swollen, and we decided, you know, kind of shut him down a little bit. But, you know, having him back would be important for us going forward, along with some of the other guys. Gabe Shoemaker is in a clinic this morning, so we're looking to see how he is. So, and, you know, it's high school football, so it's next man up mentality, and then put the best 11 on offense and defense that we can. Last night we struggled with cramping last night with the humidity, even though we didn't get any rain at all, really just a sprinkle. And the temperature went down, but still the humidity was there. So, if anything, I'd like to see the humidity leave, but I don't think it's going to this week. I think it's another week like we had last week.
Well, Coach, I'm going to mention one thing. When I come over there last night, I was very impressed with the people that were coming in, and number 2, with the young men that you are getting to come out. I remember a few years back when I would go watch Cherville play, and they was lucky to have maybe 20 guys over on their side, and you have put football back into Cherville, and I like that because, I mean, you had just about as many people as West Lincoln had out there, and it's just the environment. I mean, they were people everywhere. Rudisill Stadium was pretty much packed, and that's what it is about high school football, and when you can fulfill that back into the football part of it, congratulations to you, congratulations to Coach Sane for what y'all are doing at each school.
Well, I appreciate that. I mean, it's a process, and like I said, we got a good group of seniors this year that have been there and done that a little bit. Last night we didn't play to our best of our abilities, but I hope people will continue to come out. We only have 3 more home games. Our next game is homecoming, the last week of September, and then 2 more games, and one of those is senior night. So our schedule is going to become more of a road warrior mentality, but our guys have bought into some things, and we got to keep buying in, and we got to keep improving. And the atmosphere was great. There was a big crowd. I was worried about the storm rolling up and it affecting the crowd, but Lord, they were lined up, and once the lightning was allowing people to get back in the stadium, it did fill up, and it was a neat environment for sure.
Well, Coach,
appreciate you saying that.
Well, Coach, good luck this week at Drone. We'll have you on WCSL. Some of the quick scores: Thomas Jefferson won 56-14 over Chatham Central. Lake Norman Charter beat Community School of Davison 30-10. Mountain Island Charter 68-8 over Graham, and Piedmont 47-9 over Union County, and of course the Chase 38-7 over Bessemer City. There, you know, you guys, you know, this isn't your past West Lincoln groups, Terry. They're really strong. Terry felt really good that they have a chance to even win the conference this year, Coach. You've already beat one conference team. You beat Chase. It beat the St. Bessemer as well. Well, you know, going forward in your conference, I think you guys are going to be pretty competitive here and make a run here at this title.
Yeah, we should. It's important that we start, you know, getting a little more healthy. I mean, that's a hard part when we play the schedule that we do in the teams, and there's no easy games. I mean, Bessemer City's a physical team. I think Chase is going to open a few eyes in their conference with the group that they have. Those were 2 good wins. West Lincoln, I know I heard, as I told the boys this week, hey, they think they're the best team in Lincoln County, but we're playing in Gaston County. So we thought we could give them a better game. I thought last year we were really competitive in the first half. This year, not so much, but, you know, one play, like Terry said, would help. And, you know, just the momentum, the energy on the sideline was there, the energy on the crowd. And then next thing you know, we're down 14-0. But give Coach Sane and his guys credit. They really played great last night. I hope they win them all, as I told Coach Avery as they was riding off on the bus. So good luck to those guys.
All right, Coach Pruitt, last thing before we go, on Thursday, I was sitting in the barber chair getting my hair cut, and Mike Neal up here in Cherville, and you know, he told me, he said he don't know who cut your hair, but he wouldn't charge anybody if he did. So that's all I'm going to say about that one.
I got over the week. I was like, I need to call Mike and get the appointment, get it pressed up, or just come in early one morning. And the way the week was, and every start of school, you know, it's nice to get back into school, but it's hard to get back into school on a 5-day week when you teach freshmen. But with that said, I didn't get to go over there. And then yesterday afternoon, I tried to run by real quick. I think Mike probably took off on a little early Labor Day, and he was closed in the afternoon.
I'm sure there's a deer in his sights right now.
So I missed it. But, yeah, Mike's a great guy. I appreciate having Mike and people in the community. There's so many people in the community. Like last night, we had a little thank you of all the people who've done things to help get us ready for our season, from Dr. Kleininger to the guy at Subway to Donald Alexander to people at our local churches, the city of Cherryville. And it is a group effort, and like Terry said, we want to try to make football what it can be in Cherryville, and people like that helping us definitely make us create a better program and a better situation for our kids. So we appreciate all y'all do as well for high school athletics, and I'll take y'all off the air, and I hope y'all have a great day, and go App State.
All right, thank you, Coach. Yeah, that's right. I've got my Mountaineers stuff on as well. If you're watching on YouTube this morning, I got my national championship Richie Williams jersey sitting right here. I couldn't bring out my Armani when it's signed, so
Richie Williams was great, but Armani was the greatest. And the funny thing, Mr. Doran, sorry, I'm going to say something here.
Go ahead.
Mr. Doran did a thing for our staff. It was everything was themed around football. Okay, so everything he talked about, he had pictures, and there's a picture of Armani scoring a touchdown against Michigan. So I hope today it's Jalen Moore scoring touchdown after touchdown against Penn State, and we'll have some more memories like that, because that was a special day back in 2007.
Yes, sir. Well, good luck next week, Coach, and go
Appreciate
Nears.
You guys. Take care. Thank you. Bye.
Go Apps, go Nears, go App State. There's so many different ways you can say it. We're the real ASU. Any other way you want to put it, Terry. You know, we're the only ASU that's won a football national championship, as far as I know. You know, yeah, they play Penn State. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Jalen Moore has been named like top 10 running backs in college, top 20 freak athlete by NFL.com.
Mm-hmm.
This is a Jalen Moore running back, and I'm putting it out there. App State has a good season. You're going to have whispers out there if he has a big year. Maybe Jalen get a little Heisman nod here. North Carolina, at least a little talk around the area if he has a big year. Go ahead, Terry. You got something to say real quick?
Yeah, and it's about the coaches. You take Coach Pruitt, you take Coach Sane. These guys help beyond. Coach Harrell, you go to Coach Avery, Coach Ponder. These guys help in Optimus all the way up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, no matter what they're doing, they're teaching kids. They're trying to teach kids how to do it and do it the right way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And always, you know, if you're ever around some of these coaches, thank them for what they do, not just on the football field, but away from the game, because they are doing great things. And this, you know, to me, that's a plus, because I see it every day. And, you know, I know a lot of times I do not go up to these guys and thank them, but I appreciate everything that they do.
JP, we still got our other caller online.
No,
sound like
I guess not. Hopefully he'll call back.
Well, it's all right. It's all right. Let's take a break now. In just a second, let's go over the
Wait,
scores.
I think I just got him back.
Well, are they there? If not, we're going to take. Either. All right.
Hello, folks.
From what I've been told, we've got an old retired.
Hello.
Sitting in his rocking chair, got a walker, some prune juice.
Hello.
Coach Beam is on the phone. Former coach. He's on there. JP. 3 of his teams last night. Went 2-1 last night. I think we got. Is that Matt Beam on the phone? We had him a second ago till JP hung up on him. I think we got Coach Matt Beam.
I'll get him back eventually.
Former Coach Matt Beam is up, but giving him a little a ribbon there for retiring Terry. His teams last night went 2-1. Newton Conover ran into a buzzsaw against Hickory last night. It seems like North Lincoln, big win at Ford. We talked about that a little bit earlier. Huge win. You know, the undefeated Nick Basil, right?
That's it. That's what he still is.
You can't beat him. He can't get beat by Ford. And then, of course, I think he was at the Cherryville game last night where you were too, there, West Lincoln and Cherryville, big game here in town. Got a few minutes for a break. Look like JP's rounding up. A couple other scores. Burns with a big win over Shelby, 32-14. Just what an incredible game from the get-go. As Burns just, gave it to him. And then I think we got Coach on there. We got him on there now. JP.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, I think
there he is.
I think JP might have hit all the buttons right, Coach.
I think JP hung up on me.
Did he?
My bad.
He probably did. He'll get it figured out here in a minute. Coach or former coach, retired and just if you growing your beard out and you got the belly,
Come on,
are you done for?
Well, Coach, I'm going to say one thing. I went to see him last week down to his place, and he was laid back in a recliner. No, I'm just kidding, Coach.
You're telling a lie. Come on, Terry. Don't do that.
Coach, you was at a Cherville game last night, right?
I was. Dad and I went and watched Cherville and Chase last week. We enjoyed it. It was a great game. I know Coach Pruitt is disappointed in the outcome this week, but I just want to say that that man works his tail off, and he does a fantastic job of motivating his kids, and he grinds. He works, and I know he doesn't feel good this morning, but Coach Pruitt, I'm very proud of him, because Cherville's my town now, and I'm just really proud of him. And Cherville, they're going to bounce back. They can certainly go out and get a win next week against Drone. West Lincoln, those are a lot of my boys over there. Dad had a hard time standing on Cherville's sideline last night, so we kind of just went to the middle and just kind of watched it. We realized soon we could not sit in the stands. I just can't listen to that stuff, but it was nice to go out there and watch some football.
So they didn't let your daddy go over and fire off that cannon?
Well, I mean, I'm sure they would have now if he would have wanted to. I can guarantee you they wouldn't have stopped him. We was over there with Biscuit. I'm sure Biscuit have brought it and let him fire it anytime he wanted. But, hats off to Coach Sane and Coach Avery and Coach Ponder. Those guys have been our friends for a long time. Darren has been with me forever. I'm very proud of them. They have a good football team. I think West Lincoln's going to be right there in the mix to win that conference championship. They have a chance.
Well, Coach, I'm going to mention one thing, and I know a lot of people thinking about all the points that they're putting up, but that defense for West Lincoln is, we always talk about, well, maybe they can stop you in the middle, but they are stopping. They're pretty quick going to the outside and getting to the tackles also.
Yeah, absolutely. The only thing that would concern me, and I'm sure it concerns Pond every day, but is you got your corner, and they don't have a choice. Guys, kids are not playing football as much as they were. And so they got their good running back, 27, the Eichert kid, and he's going over there and playing corner. If I'm not mistaken, I think the quarterback is the safety, and I saw him fly down a few times. He looks like a real safety. Like he is a really good player.
Hastings.
That's the thing that they're going to have to make sure that they can avoid the injury. And nobody can stand an injury whatsoever. But you can't lose those two type of players. Because they are going to have to play on both sides of the ball in order to stop people. With looking at their schedule and kind of assessing who they might see that could throw it around, of course Newton is going to be able to spread it out and throw it around, and that's what will get them in trouble, is when you can put those kids in space by themselves and make them make a tackle. Cherville is a power run team inside, and I don't think it's just their forte to spread it out and throw it 40 sometimes a game. To put pressure on them, and Drone, of course, couldn't do that to them the week before that with West Lincoln. So I think you'll see how good they are when somebody spreads them out and see if they can tackle that in space, and I think they can. I think West Lincoln has a legitimate shot to make some noise in that conference. And I'm going to tell you, bringing Darren Ponder, when I left at Newton and bringing Darren Ponder back over there to West Lincoln, that just makes them that much more dangerous. Darren does a fantastic job on defense.
Well, Coach, real quick, I want you kind of talked about it just a little bit. You've coached at Burns and North and Newton, and you kind of touched on it just a little bit. Talk about the depth and how that does affect offense, defense. I was a two-way player when I played, and I can tell 4 or 5 of us out here on both sides. I thought it affected us quite a bit. And I see other kids like, well, I only play this, or I only play offense or defense. I'm like, you lucky dogs. I've never had to do that in my whole life. Talk a little bit about how that has to work, how that works as a coach too.
That's part of in the ground. We don't have time to assess the craziness of that. But kids have too many people in their ears telling them, oh, you just need to play here, or you just need to play there. And that's why I opened my store at Bing Boys, because I don't have time to deal with kids having outside influences telling them what they should be doing. And half the time those people have never stepped foot on a football field. They have no clue of what those kids should be doing. I'll take it. Instance, you guys remember Darius Ramsey? He's one of the greatest. In my opinion, he's one of the top 10 players ever to play it in Cleveland County. So that's a huge statement. Darius Ramsey would run the ball for me 30 times a game. He'd go over there and make every play on defense. He'd make every play on special teams. Kids like that. Nowadays, they're too specialized. They specialize in too much. Hey, I'm a receiver. I can't go over there and play in the secondary. Well, if you're all about the team, if you're a great receiver, you probably can go over there and cover people. So now you just need to get in shape and go over there and do it. I mean, I was at North. They played both ways for me. I was at Burns. They had to play both ways a lot of times. Now, if I can spell some people, that's great. But I'm not going to take somebody off of another side if even them tired at 75% is better than that backup at 100%. You just can't do it. And Newton, there's just not enough players right now. Some of these bigger 4A teams have the opportunity to specialize and practice 2 hours on one specific skill. The quarterback stand there and they work 2 hours on their quarterback drills and stuff. But, like when I was at Burns, I still had to take Brandon Littlejohn over there in the secondary and make sure that he knew what was going on. And so I am a person that I'm not a two-platoon person. I think if that kid can play both ways, he needs to go play both ways.
Well, for example, East Lincoln, I mean, they had to put Chaz in at defensive end and a lot of times in safety and move him around as well.
Well,
if Chaz is playing defense, if that guy's playing both sides, anybody should be able to play both sides, right?
Surratt and Sage Surratt did the same thing.
Yeah.
If those two boys can go play both ways, and Mike and I, Mike and I's relationship, we're very good friends, and Mike will tell you, it creates problems when you have Chaz Surratt coming off the edge, and you got to get him blocked, and he's physical, and he's athletic, and he's fast, and he's smart, and you got to know the kids that can keep their head out of it and not get banged up. I mean, you can get hurt on any play, but some kids are able to, first of all, the strength training, but another way is just to have the football intelligence to know how to keep yourself out of an injury situation. You know what I mean?
Right. Oh, absolutely.
People don't understand that a lot of times, but Chaz,
you got to fall gracefully.
Yeah.
Seriously, I mean, you have to understand how to fall and how to stay out of the twist and the bang ups, and sometimes you can do all the right things and still get hurt, but I just think if you got a great player, you got to play them, because it's all about, there might be that one play, and Coach Pruitt alluded to it. That game kind of got out of control, but I can think of 3 very crucial plays that could have very easily gone Cherville's way, to where that game may have been, Cherville got deflated when they got down, but the kickoff, and then there was a big fumble right there, and then I don't know if you guys remember, I think it was 21-0, but Cherville throws a seam ball down the pipe on 4th down and hits him in the gut. I mean, those are 3 crucial plays that could have changed that whole outlook of that game. Or I'm not going to say it changed the score or whatever, but it would have certainly not been 48-7. But it is what it is, and hats off to West. I mean, that running game, those two boys, I was more impressed. And I think one of you guys alluded to it when I just happened to hear it a little bit. I had to put on my Burns shirt and go up to the barber shop in Falls and get my hair cut so I can congratulate those guys. But I was very impressed with the maturation, and I always love looking at quarterbacks. You guys know that. So I was very impressed with Willis. I mean, I think I'm going to probably call David Avery here in a little bit and say, hey, let that kid sling it just a couple more times. This kid, he throws a rope on that first one that they scored on the post. I mean, it was on the money. Kid made a great catch, but I'm telling you, West is dangerous. West is dangerous.
Yeah, well, Coach, I'm going to say one thing, and that's Seth Willis, and I'm around that kid and his dad, Nobby, and them all the time. And those 2 young men, and I'm going to say even his other brother, Luke, that plays, they play 110%. I mean, a lot of times when you have a player come out there and he's running you 95, but they don't play less. Every play that I've ever seen him in football, basketball, baseball, it's 110%. Whether he makes a mistake or not, he's going to give you everything that he's got. And if he can open up and they're passing, I'm saying he was 5 out of 7. And if he can do that, then them running backs are going to have, hey, it's all for them.
Yep.
All right, Coach Bean, real quick for Terry. I got one question for we go on. You got to get we got to go to break here in a second. You mentioned you saw Chase, right? You're the first person we've had on here that's seen these Trojans. You know, big win last night over Bessemer, but they got beat by Cherville. Quick assessment of the Trojans, because we got a couple teams, you know, that's going to be playing them going forward here in our area.
Well, Chase is going through. Whenever you have a new coaching change, you got to give them some grace period of allowing them to get their stuff in and kind of assess where they are. I was impressed with Chase. Chase is another one that if Chase catches 6 or 7 balls that they completely drop, they win the game and beat Cherville. You know, they had kids running open a lot of times, and they just dropped the ball. I thought Chase looked athletic to me. You know, I thought they were thin kind of up front. I thought they were light up front, especially on the defense. But I thought they had skills in a lot of different skill areas to give people problems. And then it just comes down to execute. They must have executed some plays last night against Bessemer, but it just comes down to being able to execute those plays. And that I thought they were a good team that Cherville beat. That's why I said that the Cherville West game was going to be a close game. And maybe I didn't give enough credit to how much improved West Lincoln is, and how good they really might be. That I was certainly impressed.
All right, you watching Mountaineer football today, or listening to it somewhere?
No, I'm going to Bean Boys right now. Going to Bean Boys.
You got to listen to something.
My God, he's got that recliner to get back on.
Yeah, he's got to get a listen.
Now you know I'm not in no recliner.
So how many points is App going to beat Penn State by today?
App will lose by 28.
That's not what I asked you. I said how many points will Appalachian State.
You're thinking with your heart. I'm thinking with a team that might be one of the best 4 teams in the country.
Well, that's what the voters might say.
I'm still a Mountaineer. I'm just real. You want me
to
be honest?
There you go.
Hey, well, I'm going to be real, too. Where was Michigan ranked? Where did the voters think they were when App State went up here and beat them?
Well, I think there's a big difference between Penn State and Michigan at this moment.
Yeah, well, Armani Edwards isn't on the field either, so that's probably
where you're going to find Armani at.
That might be probably the biggest thing.
Bringing in a new quarterback too, correct? So,
yeah.
You know,
all right, Coach. Have a nice Saturday, I guess, and go Appalachian.
See you guys.
All right, JP.
Thanks,
let's
Coach.
get to a break. That's Coach, former Coach Matt Beam of the Burns Bulldogs, North Lincoln, and as well Newton Conover. His former teams last night went 2-1. Real quick. Going to go down the scores, and we got to get to a break. It's college football Saturday, boys.
Yeah, boy.
NASCAR to talk about. NFL previews coming up next week. We're going to talk a little bit about those. Got some big news. Khalil Mack just traded the Bears coming across the hotline, right? And did I get that right, Carson?
Yeah,
okay. Burns over Shelby, 34-14. West Lincoln, 48-7 over Cherville. North Gaston, 8-7 over Lincoln, and Ashbrook, 30-14 over East Lincoln. Bessemer City falls 38-7 at Chase. Stuart Kramer 56-18 over East Gaston. Forest View falls 20-46. South Point, Huss 21-14 overtime winners over Clover, and Hickory 35-6 over Newton Conover. Carson, you ain't talked in a while. Why don't you finish up those last two points?
All right, yeah, you know, I took a little breather. Kings Mountain shutting out TC Robertson 55-0. North Lincoln on top of Fred T. Ford 22-9. East Rutherford comes out with a win 41-35 over South Caldwell. RS Central 13, Polk County 12. Maiden with the shutout 49-0 over Bunker Hill. Watauga with a 58-7 win over Avery County. Thomas Jefferson with a 56-14 win over Chatham Central. Highland Tech with the shutout 51-0 over South Davidson. Lake Norman Charter with a 30-10 victory over Community School of Davidson. Mountain Island Charter a big 68-8 win over Graham without Marcus Graham now for the rest of the season. Piedmont 47-9 winners over Union Academy.
And one more score, High Brighton, the number 1 2A team in the state, wins 56-14. Coach Lewis now 83-28 on his career in 9 seasons. High Brighton 19 straight wins, 16 regular season wins in regular season, and 13 straight home wins for High Brighton.
I just you know, people's been asking me what's up with Bessemer and everything. Terry, what's going on? You know, last year they lose 2 games overall. Was it 3? 2? They're coming this season ranked 5 overall. And the only thing I can see, the only change I've seen is they added Coach Philip Russ to the offensive line, and this just went downhill from there. But now Philip's listening and he going into work this morning. Terry didn't know where I was going on that.
Oh my goodness!
If they'd get that offensive line coach together, I mean, he walks in there and I told him before the season, I said, "You're ranked 5th. You lost 2 last year. It's only downhill from here, and it's all going to be blamed on you. I just want you to know that when Will comes in here and Dennis starts firing at me from the crest sides, I'm going to blame it all on Philip Russ in the game." And tough night last night against Chase. Chase, like I said, new coach, much improved. Listen, when I played, Chase was good. There was the team that went 6-5, then lost the coin toss or whatever it was for the playoffs. You remember that one, Terry? They beat a lot of good teams that year. Lost the only games they lost were like close games, all within 6 or 7 points. So I can pull up the year on that later. We've talked about that season before for Chase, but it looks like they got something going pretty good. But we'll talk about the rest of that later. But yeah, just fun picking on Philip there on that. We're going to talk about we'll do the top 10 in just a minute when we come back and start talking about college football Saturday on KTC Broadcasting. We've got Clemson football, Tar Heels football today, and a little NASCAR racing as well. All right, we'll be back in just a few minutes. KTCBroadcasting.com.
Dr. John L. Cloninger III of Lincoln will brighten your smiles with professional cosmetic dentistry and smile enhancement procedures for everyone. Even Duke fans will smile at the work of this Tar Heel. The office of Dr. John L. Cloninger III is located at 904 Doncha Drive. For an appointment, call 704-735-0765. That's 704-735-0765. And John III says best wishes to all high school athletes.
Maybe a punctuation mark on a career night.
The summer sales event is underway at Elliott Supply Company in Polkville. Come see the new Husqvarna zero-turn mowers. Get 0% financing for 48 months. Well-qualified buyers may be eligible. And that's not all. See the Patriot zero-turn mower by Skag. Now sale priced at $6,099. Plus get 0% financing for 48 months. Don't miss the summer sales event at Elliott Supply Company, Highway 182 North in Polkville. Call 704-538-8661. They've got them all. At Renato Auto Mall in Shelby, they've got Fords, Chevrolets, Buicks, Toyotas, Nissans, Hondas, Kias, GMC trucks, and more. What are we talking about? We're talking about the huge used car selection at Renato Auto Mall. Before you buy, come see Renato Auto Mall in Shelby. And they are now your SUV headquarters. Over 50 to choose from, new and used. All makes, all models, and 10 to choose from, priced at under $10,000 at Renato Auto Mall. 4423 East Dixon Boulevard in Shelby. Online at RenatoAutomall.com.
There you go, Ann. Your new account is now open. Just one more little thing.
Here's your card.
What was that?
It's my new bank. Every time I turn around, I get hit with another fee.
You need to get an account at Carolina Federal Credit Union.
She's right.
Tired of getting hit by bank fees? Switch to Carolina Federal Credit Union today. Make those pains go away.
Here's your receipt.
Buy or sell at the Gaston Pickers, located at 503 Long Avenue in Gastonia. They've got it all, from antique furniture to collectibles to consignments. And they do estate auctions too. And right now they're accepting motivated dealers. Just call 704-852-7055 or come by their huge store. Open Monday through Saturday 10 to 6, Sundays 1 till 6. That's the Gaston Pickers, 503 Long Avenue in Gastonia. Like them on Facebook too.
If bowling's your game, head to George Pappas Liberty Lanes in Gastonia. At Liberty Lanes in Gastonia, you'll find 32 lanes, 16 with bumpers for small children. Liberty Lanes is a smoke-free facility with a full snack bar and game room with pool tables, plus a pro shop too, providing bowlers of all skill levels with a fun-filled environment for both league and open bowling. That's George Pappas Liberty Lanes, Highway 321 South, Gastonia.
And good morning. Happy breakfast to you from Mitchem's Kitchen. Give them a call today, 704-276-1155. Dine in or carry out. Terry, you guys got some good food down there. Go see Terry Reinhardt and the gang. KTC Broadcasting Day brought to you by Saturday Sports Talks, brought to you by Campers Inn of Kings Mountain, out on Highway 85 there in Kings Mountain, right behind the McDonald's, if you're wondering where it is. All right, guys. I've got my top 20. We'll do that. And then we're going to talk top 25 college football. We're going to talk top 14 because this is the official list that we're going to get to in a second. But let's do my top 20 here. I think I got it actually right off the top of my head last night, Terry, and I did my math check, and we actually got lucky. Last week we were wrong on about 2 or 3 of them, and we after the post games you had to do some adjusting before we actually printed it this week. But we got it back now. Here is our top 20, folks. This is how it works. You get 1 point for a 1A, 2 for a 2A, 3 for a 3A, and 4 for 4A victories. If you lose to a 4A, 0 points. If you lose to a 3A, you lose 1 point. If you lose to a 2A, you lose 2 points. If you lose to a 3A, you lose 3 points. This is not our opinions. We do not think this team is better than that team or whatever. Do not call me, complain me, tell me I'm an idiot, Terry's an idiot, Carson's an idiot. It might be true, we might be 3 idiots, but the point is we didn't choose these teams. Nobody does. This is not an opinion poll. We're going to talk opinions in just a minute and why they're silly, because we're going to talk about college football, so we're going to get in that in just a minute. Now, here is the top 20 based on PowerPoints. Is your first tie is whoever's got the most points, we'll put them on top. If you tied with someone, then it goes to record, and if you got the same record, defensive points allowed. So, we had tiebreakers at the number 1 spot this week. We had a bunch of other tiebreakers throughout. We're going to start at number 20. Let's start with the teams that are outside the top 20 this week. Some teams fell out that were in it last week. Some of the teams that are outside the top 20 this week. This is the bottom 10 in no particular order because I don't have them all the way out in the bottom of them. Community School of Davison, Pine Lake Prep, East Lincoln, Lake Norman Charter, Union Academy, RS Central, Bessemer City, Chase, East Gaston, and Lincoln, I think, are our bottom 10 right now. Now, the top 20, starting at number 20, the North Lincoln Knights. They have 0 points on the season. They're 1-1, giving up 14.3 points. That math isn't right. North Lincoln is 1-1, and that is not even close. Where did that one come in? I must have copied and pasted one. I did divide it by 3 is what I did. So they're giving up 21.5 points a game. I think that's right. Is that right, Carson?
That is good.
21.5 points a game so far in 2 games. Number 19. Now, 13 through 19 all have 1 PowerPoint. Okay? So, then we went to tiebreakers, which is records. So, if you're undefeated, you go up higher. If you've won 2 games instead of 1, 2-1's better than 1-1. 1-1's better than 1-2. So all these 1-point teams from 13 to 19, we went to the record, and then a couple of other ones, we also had to even go to the defensive points allowed to break them up. So at number 19, the Forest View Jaguars, 1 point. They're 1-2. They've given up 88 points on the season, 29.3 points a game. Not used to saying this, Terry. Shelby, number 18. 18, not number 1, not number 2, not number 3, not even the top 10. They're number 18 right now, 1-2 overall. And this is the big one this kind of shows you to everybody wants to talk about the offense. Terry, they're giving up 24 points a game.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't seen that, and I can't remember how long.
Yeah, and the biggest thing also is as we go on.
Some of those are defensive touchdowns and stuff, but it's still 24 points a game.
But it's been a while since we've said Shelby is like the 4th best team in Cleveland County.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Terry with the hot take.
Ooh, Terry, and that is, in our power poll, that's where they are ranked. Mm-hmm. They are number 4. You know, early in the season, it happens sometimes with a loss, but, Shelby hadn't lost in 4 or 5 years, so it hadn't really affected them.
When was the last time they were under 500?
That is a very good question that Terry would have to probably pull up at some point.
1-2.
They've never had a losing season, right?
I
think it's 7-6 was the worst season he ever had.
45 out of 46 years.
1 year they went 5-6 or something like that.
I can tell you.
And I know they went 7-6. Terry, he's got that exact sheet, Carson.
He does.
This is Google.
This is incredible.
Terry, Google Reinhardt over here.
Yeah,
that's what we need to change his name from Texas to Google. Google Terry Reinhardt.
Well, here you are.
That sounds like you're saying Google Terry Reinhardt. I don't know if anybody wants to do that.
I know they had missed the one, but what was it, Terry?
Here you go. They have, in the last 46 years, this is all going all the way back to 1972, they've only had 1 year that they won less than 7 games.
Wow.
1 year, and that year was in 1990. They went 4-6. So 45 out of 46 years coming into this year, they have won 7 games or more.
Wow.
So there you go.
Mm-hmm. And you don't have the record on that other one?
Not out.
That's what I was asking to begin with.
But,
Gosh, Terry.
24
I knew that
conference
one.
championships. I
Nah.
mean,
But yeah, just amazing. Crazy that they're 1-2. But the 72 points a game, we've had seasons where they've get halfway through the season and hadn't given up 100 points. So you kind of got to look at that too as well. So if they're number 18, who's number 17, Carson?
I would venture to guess the Burns Bulldogs.
Yes, they are. The Burns Bulldogs are number 17. They've got 1 PowerPoint, 1-1 overall. They have given up 54 points on the season, a total of 18 points per game. So they're giving up under 20. When you're talking about these defensive points per game, typically our state champions have given somewhere up under 15 points a game. The really good defenses, the ones that advance, anything under 20 is usually the teams that advance pretty well in the playoffs. So just give you a heads up on our teams moving forward. Number 16, the Newton Conover Red Devils. They're 1-1, negative 35 points on the season in 2 games. I did another 3 divided by 3 on that one there, Carson. Let's go to 17.
Good math.
17.5 points a game. Yeah, this is week 3. I was dividing by 3 the whole time over here. Cherryville, they are 2-1. They're number 15 in our power poll. 2-1. They've given up 77 on the season, 25 points per game so far on the season, 25.7. Mountain Island Charter is number 14. They're 2-1 as well, but they've only given up 38 points on the season, so they get the tiebreaker over Cherryville into the 14 spot. And our last team with 1 point on the season, Carson Dockery was there last night for the 51-0 shutout, Highland Tech. And Carson, do you think Highland Tech might upset a couple other people in this conference this year? Are they going to give a run at Cherryville or Bessemer, anybody?
I got to talk to the new head coach, Coach DeLeo, a little bit after the game. I was finishing up my story, and he came in and said, that was a good start, and but really for Highland, they're I think last year they won 2 or 3 games, and as opposed to the last 10, and that's opposed to the last 10 years where they won maybe 1 game over 10 years.
Right.
Really for Highland, the next big step you can take is getting a conference win. They have 1 conference win as this new incarnation of Highland. So that's going to be the next big step for Coach DeLeo is getting a conference win. And I think, honestly, the Highland, what I saw last night, they've got 3 or 4 different guys that they're comfortable carrying the ball, running that wing T offense, and a defense that last night it was swarming, and it was pretty good. I mean, obviously good enough to shut out South Davidson, and that was a team that runs sort of an I formation. They're going to run it probably 60% of the time, but they're still going to change it up and pass it. But Highland, they are, I don't think they're going to be the cellar dweller that they have been this year. They're a team that they've got some potential, and maybe if some of these kids were anywhere other than Highland, we would probably know them a little more. They'd probably still be starters, but we'd probably know them a little more just because Highland has that sort. I mean, there's a reputation that goes along with Highland football, and that's obviously something that it's hard to change because they don't have a feeder program. They are a lottery school, so it's very hard to bank. You can't bank on anybody coming. You can't look down at Southwest or Greer or Yorkchester and say, hey, we're going to have this kid in a year or 2. You just don't have that. So, I mean, Coach DeLeo and I think everybody that works over in the athletics department in Highland, they realize the special set of circumstances that they have, and how hard it is to compete over at Highland. But going over to Highland, I love going over there because nobody over there makes excuses. They just want to compete. They want to compete, and they like going out and play football. I mean, obviously Highland's not going to have a huge team, but once you get everybody on the same page, and once a team buys in, that's when they get good, and that's when it's hard to pick against a team like that.
Well, Terry and guys, they're going to have a tough test next week. They'll be at Lincoln Charter and see how that goes. Or is that Lake Norman? Lake Norman Charter.
Lincoln Charter doesn't have
Yeah, that's right. They'll be at Lake Norman Charter, then at Christ the King, home against Community School of Davidson. All right, number 12 in our score books we're in our poll with a slight win last night over Lincoln, and now 2-1 on the season. North Gaston Wildcats are number 12 in our poll. These 2 teams have 2 points. North Gaston's 2-1, but number 11 is 2-0. That's Thomas Jefferson. Thomas Jefferson 2-0. They've got 41 points on the season in 2 games. Now our top 10, Terry Reinhardt, the only team in our area with 3 power points is
West Lincoln Rebels.
2-0. Only 7 points in 2 games, Terry. Looking pretty good. 3.5 points per game on defense for the Rebels. South Point is number 9. They're the only team in our area with 4 power points right now. They're 2-1, but they've given up 56 points in 3 games at 18.7 a game. They're under the 20 mark, but hovering near it. In 2 games, the Crest Chargers have 5 power points, only giving up 17 at 8.5 per game. They're also tied on the power points, though, with Stuart Kramer. Stuart Kramer wins the tiebreaker. They got more wins. 3-0. They've given up 44 on the season at 14.7 per game. Dropping all the way from number 1 to number 6, Terry, without playing. Now, remember, Crest, they dropped all the way from 2 to 8 without playing. Can't move up if you don't beat nobody, can you, Terry?
That's how it works.
Vandy, 6 power points this week with they fall all the way to 6. They stay with 6 power points, but everyone else that got 6 points this week actually moved ahead of them. Ashbrook at 5 are 2-0 as well, but they've given up 7 less points than Vandy, so they get the 5 spot. And then Maiden stays in the 4 spot from last week with 6 points, 3-0, Terry, and in 3 games, 6 points. Probably looking at maybe, as far as in 3 games, our best defense so far in the season, 2 points a game. Outstanding for Maiden. Kings Mountain comes in at 3, 7 power points. The only team in the area of 7 power points. They're 2-0. They've given up 6 points in 2 games, so pretty good in the Maiden. They're sniffing around Maiden there on the points per game, only giving up 3 points per game. Now, our 1 and 2 spots, they both tied with 8 power points. They're both 3-0, so it goes to defensive points allowed. East Rutherford gets the 2 spot with 91 points they've given up, and they're 3-0 and giving up 91.
Oh, boy.
So, hey, defensive coordinator. Who? You tackle someone. Who? Did we hire one this year?
Yeah.
But they've got this week. I think they got the Bulldogs this week. Yeah. So Burns at East Rutherford this week. That'll be a good game.
Mm-hmm.
And that'll affect our PowerPoint standings next week as well. And Huss is our number 1 team, Carson. Your Huskies, they go to Hickory this week.
That'll be tough.
And Hickory beat Newton County over 35-6. But you guys just beat Clover and Carson. They're starting to feel it in Gastonia. But they've got one of the toughest probably schedules around.
Yeah.
North Gaston, who scores a lot of points, which till last night. Well, who knows what's going to happen there. At Burns, who just beat Shelby. At Kings Mountain. Home against Crest. Forest View, at Kramer, and at Ashbrook. So Hunter Huss, our number 1 team in the area. All right, we've got to take a break in just a few minutes. But I've got another. Just hold on, JP. We're going to take it at 20, about 20 after. So we're going to move over into college football real quick. And we're going to start off by me reading the list. And this is ESPN, remember, who goes out on who has money involved in this. You know, this is college football. The only 14 teams that can win the national championship this year, according to them. They don't even talk the top 25. We talk about this every year. There's probably 10 to 15 teams that are only allowed. I call it allowed. And this is my biggest problem with college football. Allowed to win the championship. Alabama could lose 3 games and make a playoff. If NC State loses one game, what's going to happen, Terry? Are they going to?
We're done.
Unless every other conference has teams with 1 loss and a couple of them with 2 losses to win the championship. That's the only way a 1 loss North Carolina State, Duke would ever get into it, right?
That's true.
Central Florida last year went undefeated. They didn't even get a sniff at the playoffs. They beat the teams that beat Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't get in the playoffs. So for you Appalachian State fans, you got to remember, App State would be in the same situation as Central Florida is. So when Appalachian runs into an undefeated season, if they beat Penn State and went undefeated this year, and then they told them they couldn't be in the playoffs, would that be outrageous?
Well, you look at it right now because they're not ranked.
Right.
So next week,
that matters.
Here's the big
rankings
deal.
Matter.
And we do know that because next week, Appalachian would be ranked between 20th to 25th.
Yeah. What if App beats Penn State by 25 points today? Who will be ranked higher next week, App or Penn State?
Oh, Penn State.
Yeah, no, that is.
And so you can't do that with our high school poll, right? We just talked about this. You know, Burns is 1-1. They beat Shelby. They're 1-2, and Burns is ahead of them. It always works out in the end. And in college football, you know, a lot for me, you know, the naysayers, and I admit I'm one of them. I'm not that. I don't like the form. I don't like the North Carolina can't win can't get in if they're not in it. So here's ESPN's top 14 teams. I want you guys to guess the top 14 that are in this list without looking at my sheet of paper, and I'm gonna see how many of you guys can get out. This is without even scouting teams, knowing teams. No, we ain't seen a game played. This is ESPN's top 14. Terry, we're gonna go back and forth. You name one, then Carson name one.
Well, I'm not even going to worry about one of them. I'm just going to jump off on somebody else. I'm going to say Georgia.
Georgia is the third best chance to win the championship.
If we're not naming the obvious.
The obvious.
Right Washington.
Washington Huskies. For some reason, I thought I saw them. Yes, number 5. Terry.
Next one on the board. I'm going to go with. Well, besides that, they fell off a few here lately. I'm going to go Florida State would be one of them.
Florida State, are you on our top 14? Dun, 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 dun. No! Florida State.
Really?
No Jimbo.
No, Florida State. So Terry misses FSU. Now, they would be allowed to win it if they went undefeated. If they lost one game, they would be allowed to make a playoff. But this is ESPN's. They don't think they can win it, so they're not even on the top 14.
That's what I get for thinking.
You're right there.
Just name the obvious ones, so we got
okay.
Let's go.
Alabama, Auburn, Clemson.
Yes.
Stanford.
USC.
Stanford is 14th.
Got him.
USC is not on here, Terry. You missed 2.
Let me go Big Ten. Let me go Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State.
Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State. Carson names all 3 of those. They're in the top 12. Missed one more Big Ten, by the way.
One more. Oklahoma. No. Well, Oklahoma's probably in there.
They are in there. Don't be cheesy.
Wisconsin.
Carson hadn't missed one yet, Terry. You just over here
staring at
Notre Dame.
Terry got one there.
Miami.
There you go. All right, that's it.
All right.
That's our 14. No, there's one more. There's one more Big Ten. There's 5 Big Ten in the top 14.
5? How?
Michigan State, Spartans.
Okay.
So there's 5 Big Tens, 1 ACC. No, 2 ACC, Clemson and Miami. So there you go. And then you got Alabama, Georgia, Notre Dame, Washington, Stanford. So 2 teams in the pack.
That just shows how far Florida State's fell off.
Oklahoma's the only team in
USC. Look how
they've only got Oklahoma's the only team in the Big 12 that can win the championship.
They don't even count them.
Who?
There you go.
Who?
If they don't count Florida State and USC, think if State loses 1, you're totally out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly right.
You're not even in a category
there's about 20 teams in the country, 25 total, that can lose 1 game.
So Alabama could lose 2.
Alabama could lose 3.
Yeah.
If it's the right 3. Yeah.
If it's the right 3, I think Alabama could lose 3, and it's not fair at all. And then you'll get Saban on here on his high horse, talking about Central Florida doesn't play anybody and stuff like that. And he needs to.
I love how Central Florida, they're hanging banners and stuff
it
around.
Makes him mad.
Saying they're national champ. I mean, and technically they there's that weird technicality where they are.
How can Alabama say that they're not?
Yeah.
We never played them. We never had an opportunity to play them.
We beat the teams that beat you, so I don't. That's the
Alabama doesn't even know who their starting quarterback's going to be.
But
Nobody does.
And the thing about Bama though, they get on their high horse about Central Florida ain't played anybody. Then you look at their schedule and they play the Williams and Mary.
They play Western Carolina before Auburn.
Appalachia don't even stoop to play Western anymore, and then Alabama plays them and then talks about the schedule. And hear what you guys think before we go to break. JP, hold on, ready to go to break. Since we have these super conferences now, and since we always talk about how great our conference is and great this is, if you've got 16 teams in a conference, why are you not playing a full 11-game SEC schedule or ACC schedule?
Yeah.
What's the point of having 16? What if they have 40 teams? They're still going to play out of conference?
Yeah.
Like, at what point does it get so big where you say, we're still going to play out of conference games, but there's 24 teams in a conference? Is that not silly?
Yeah, that doesn't. I mean, really, if you think about it from the money aspect, do you not make more money from conference games?
Exactly. Wouldn't Alabama be better off playing Kentucky and Vanderbilt and everybody else every year instead of playing
Kentucky and Vanderbilt?
Western Carolina?
Kentucky and Vanderbilt to Alabama probably isn't that different than Western Kentucky
right.
or Western Carolina. I mean, like you said, obviously there's.
But play the conference games.
Exactly. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Maybe one. I might give you one out of conference, but I think if you're going to play Division I football also, and we're going to be voting on who gets in the playoffs and every game matters, shouldn't you also be required to play Division I teams if you do go out of conference? Yeah. If I'm Alabama and I go out of conference, I shouldn't be allowed to play Western. I should have to play North Carolina.
Yeah.
Or NC State.
Yeah.
Or Clemson if I want to go out of conference. Terry, you got some type of squiggly sheet over here. I'm scared to look at it.
Well, it's the point of when we're talking about teams who lose game one, and we always talk about can Appalachian State go beat Penn State?
Mm-hmm.
How far would they fall? And here's a poll that a lot of teams did. Back in 1968, there was two teams. Oklahoma was ranked number 5. Texas was ranked number 6. They lost their first game of the year. They fell completely out of the poll.
Woo.
In 1969, Houston was ranked number 7. They lost to Florida. They fell out of the poll.
He's got a sheet for this.
Yeah, he does.
1975. Auburn was number 7. They lost to Memphis, Tennessee. They fell out of the poll. 76. Missouri was ranked 6th. They lost to Illinois, fell out of the poll. And that same year, 1976, USC lost to Missouri and fell out of the poll. In 1984, Notre Dame was number 7. They lost to Purdue, fell out of the poll. 1986, Tennessee was ranked number 8. They lost to Mississippi State. They fell out of the poll. In 2007, Michigan was ranked number 5. They lost to Appalachian State. They fell out of the poll.
Yeah, boy.
And the last one, in 2012, Arkansas come in ranked number 8. They lost to Louisiana Monroe and fell out of the poll.
The Red Hawks.
All right, we got to take a break. We'll be back in just a few minutes. KTCBroadcasting.com.
I'm Terry Clark, inviting you to join me this week for Country Gold, where we play all your favorites from the 80s and 90s.
Country Gold with Terry Clark, Thursday afternoons 1 to 5 on Big O Country, 1590 AM WCSL, and online at KTCBroadcasting.com.
3 wide now with Denny Hamlin to the bottom.
The NASCAR Xfinity Series.
Leaning on each other.
The race to the playoffs rages into Darlington.
Tradition and history come to the fore.
Has NASCAR's rising stars.
Cole Custer starting to feel some heat from Justin Allgaier.
Fend off a host of Cup Series moonlighters.
Textbook pass by Kevin Harvick.
The Sport Clips Haircuts VFW 200.
Sideways, he loses it.
Saturday at 3 on the Motor Racing Network.
The Sport Clips Haircut VFW 200. Saturday afternoon at 3 p.m. on Carolina Country, 1590 AM WCSL, 92.3 FM, and online at KTCBroadcasting.com. They've got them all. At Renato Auto Mall in Shelby, they've got Ford, Chevrolets, Buicks, Toyotas, Nissans, Hondas, Kias, GMC trucks, and more. What are we talking about? We're talking about the huge used car selection at Renato Auto Mall. Before you buy, come see Renato Auto Mall in Shelby. And they are now your SUV headquarters. Over 50 to choose from, new and used, all makes, all models, and 10 to choose from, priced at under $10,000 at Renato Auto Mall, 4423 East Dixon Boulevard in Shelby, online at RenatoAutomall.com. Is it time to update your kitchen? Then see the Kitchen Cafe at Hendrick Appliance and Mattress Center in Shelby. Right now, save up to $1,500 when you buy 4 select GE Cafe appliances. Now is the time to save. If you're building a new home or remodeling your old one, this is a deal you can't pass up. Again, save up to $1,500 when you buy 4 select GE Cafe appliances at Hendrick Appliance and Mattress Center, 1241 East Dixon Boulevard in Shelby. Open 9 to 6 Monday through Friday, 9 to 3 on Saturday. There's no one like you. And Pandora Jewelry is opening up all kinds of possibilities to show that to the world with the new open bangle. Beautifully crafted from sterling silver with new interchangeable end caps. You can mix, match, and even have the freedom to customize like never before. Shop the new open bangle from Pandora Jewelry now and do see the wonderful Pandora Jewelry. Available at Facet Foundry Jewelry Studios, 530 South New Hope Road, Gastonia. Online at FacetFoundryJewelry.com. It's tailgate time. Before you head to the big game, head to Hillbilly's Barbecue and Steaks for your tailgate party pack. No matter how big or small your tailgate party is, You get great food at affordable prices, from barbecue to chicken to steaks and more. For a complete list of party packs, visit the website at hillbilliesbbqsteaks.com. Hillbillies Barbecue and Steaks, 930 East Garrison Boulevard in Gastonia and 720 McCannville Road in Lowell. Feeding our area since 1989.
And good morning, Saturday Sports Talk. Brought Campers Inn at Kings Mountain. Get out there today. Campers Inn and RV. I'm Kevin Hastings, along with Carson Dockery and Terry Google Reinhardt over here. We ask a question. He pulls out a sheet of paper. Like
Terry's the only person in here that has his own segments, man. He's a star.
I do know that
he's
Terry,
a star.
Terry won't have the answer to one of our quizzes here in a little bit. He's not
another
gonna
quiz.
have another quiz. This is an online quiz. College football. Getting into this week, we got Tar Heels and Clemson today. Tar Heel game will pick up at the end of the Clemson game. Clemson will be on first here on KTC, and then Tar Heels will pick up during that game. Tar Heels, of course, in our local. We'll talk about some of our local football players. You know, of course, the Surratt Sage the other night. It was Thursday night. 11 catches, 150 yards.
150 yards, yeah.
Just outstanding. And we all knew this. When I was wondering why he was why was the all-time leading receiver not playing last year in North Carolina, and then he gets out there in one game, 150 yards. The other receiver, to his credit, had like 10 catches, $145 or something like that. And then I think it was the tight end or somebody had 2 touchdowns that caught him underneath. They got all their touchdowns.
You know, and the amazing thing about that, they won 23-17 in overtime.
How do you have 2 receivers?
They played Tulane.
Tulane.
How do you have 2 receivers with 300 yards total and only have 20 points?
That's what I'm saying. I was just. I mean,
that means you're getting a lot of those yards between the 20s.
There you go.
Exactly
they got to finish after drives, of course. I guess Wake Forest does. We got the Tar Heels coming up today. His brother Chaz, of course, suspended 4 games for selling shoes, Carson. And remember, North Carolina kind of got in trouble this a couple years ago. I can't remember if you guys remember the story. Well, you know, they give you this equipment, okay?
Yeah.
So you can give it to your brother, your mama, your sister, your uncle. You can give it to the Goodwill. You can light it on fire and pee on it if you want. You can throw it in the trash. You can do whatever you want with it. But
don't sell it.
Don't sell it.
God forbid you make money.
Don't sell it, okay? So, you know, that's the most silliest thing ever. So a couple years ago, the Tar Heel players, what they do is when they change the uniforms at the end of the year, they have a yard sale with all their equipment and stuff. So the players that wore all this equipment can't take it with them. They have to go back.
Give it up.
And they have to give it up. And if they want it, they have to buy it at the yard sale. So there was some players that got in trouble kind of for whatever dumb transaction that violates of NCAA law. And we kind of talk about this all the time. Should pay the players? What to pay the players? You know, you can get into those facts all the time, but there are some facts that you have to talk about to begin with. Men's basketball, women's basketball, and college football are the only 3 sports that we restrict going out. You know, pro. You can't go pro at a certain age. We don't pay the players. Well, you know, those are the majority of minority sports, right? Baseball, any other sports you can go pro. You also have these situations where, say, Coach Saban, let's say he makes, and Coach K is making about $11 million a year. Now, Coach K has far less players. So, let's see, Coach K takes $1 million off his salary, divide that by 12. Nick Saban takes $1 million off his salary, divide that by 100. There's 100 players on a roster in college football. So, yes, that's not as much as the basketball, but, you know, that's one way you can do it. But I'm not even saying doing it that way. Here's what you can look at. When they say they don't have enough money, I did a little math yesterday. North Carolina has a $3.9 billion endowment with a B, okay? That means they have that much money in the bank. They can not, if they don't make another dime, Terry, if they don't sell another T-shirt, another ticket, another anything with Tar Heel logo on it for the next 100 years, they could play every player on the North Carolina football roster. Now, this is just if you're paying a football team. This isn't. I know there's other expenses and other things, but this is if they don't make a dollar for the next 100 years, they could pay every single player on the football team $390,000 per year.
God.
Not the coaches. I mean, not the coaches. Not the starters.
Everybody.
Every single player, 1 through 100. All the walk-ons, every single player. North Carolina, if they didn't make another dime the rest for 100 years, they could still pay every single football player $390,000 per year. Now, if you go to school 4 years, Carson, how much is that? Close to $1.5 million.
Almost 1.6.
Now, let's say you're University of Central Florida kid the other night, breaks his neck, he's out, he's going off on a stretcher, may never play football again. Which is more valuable? The no money you have in your pockets. Are you still going to be able to finish your schooling in Central Florida? How does that scholarship and stuff work with that? Or this is his second year. He could be facing the same situation, but with $700,000 in the bank.
I mean,
now, not every school is comparable. Somebody says, "What about Gardner Webb?" They have a $61 million endowment, so they got way less than say North Carolina does. But Gardner Webb's also a private school.
Yes, exactly right.
They can charge tuition. They can get around. My point is, and they're like, well, how much do you pay each player? You can come up with two systems. You come up with one where everybody gets the same, if that's the way you want to do it, and that's the way a lot of people are going to say. Or, like every other market in the world, you could do a free market. You could set up some type of sign-on bonus system where everyone gets the same scholarships. But the scholarships, they make the argument now, but they're not the same. A scholarship at Duke is certainly not the same scholarship at Appalachian State. So there's no equality in that already. So what I'm getting at is that you could do a sign-on bonus type thing where, hey, you get 5, and put a limit on that or something. Or each school can, if a coach is paid $11 million, you've got $1 million in sign-on bonuses. 10% you can give in sign-on bonuses. Somehow you've got to work these Adidas and Nikes and Under Armours. They're working behind everybody's back already, paying some of these kids. So I think they've got to figure out a way. They can't go with the same system that was invented in 1910. Now, I rambled for a little bit. Carson, Terry, thoughts on? I know we aren't going to fix it, but there's got to be some type of fix, right?
I mean,
happy medium.
Yeah, basketball has been talking about. Obviously they're going to go back to where you can leave straight out of high school, and that's fine with me. They also had talked about instituting a system where you can have an agent while you're still in college, and that agent can represent you not only to colleges but to future endorsements. But as long as you're not, and that's where it gets sort of weird, because I mean the NCAA is going to have to make some sort of rule where they're going to have, the NCAA would have to approve agents and all that sort of thing, and that sort of you get into more red tape that way. I don't know, man. It's there's no easy fix. There's just not outside of. I mean, I think if you just, there's got to be something. There's just got to be something. I mean, it's one of those things you think through it and you think you've got a good idea figured out, and then
it's gotten to the point where there's so much money in it. For example, Florida's got this $100 million practice facility. Well, Terry, you got $100 million invested in your practice facilities. Would you pay to go practice somewhere else? Go lift weights somewhere else? They paid $175,000 to attend this academy for a week. So they left their Florida campuses, which they've got some nice stuff, to go to this UMG, IMG, some type of academy in Florida for a week, where they had to pay for room and board and food, all this other stuff for them to travel. And I guess a lot of people's points is there's got to be a happy medium to where, if you can't work a part-time job and do these sports. And then we're like, well, what about the volleyball players and them? Yeah, they deserve something too, because if they're getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning,
they're spending just as much time.
They're spending the same amount of time. So yes, but there's so much money in it that they can figure out. And one thing somebody says, well, what do you do? Where's the money going to come from? And one thing anybody ever brings up, Terry, as far as and you can look at an athletic association in our area. Maybe the heads could take a pay cut. Maybe.
Good luck with that.
And I know this is going down a long way, but they talk about in the medical profession. Maybe the insurance or the doctors could take a pay cut. Somebody could take a pay cut Everyone with the 3 commas in your, or 2 and 3 commas in your bank account.
See, my whole thing is the people. It's people like that are like politicians. That there should be a term limit, but they're never gonna write it in. Like people that get paid that much, they're never gonna say, you know what, I made enough.
People don't like firing themselves, Carson.
Exactly. That's exactly. And people don't like shortchanging themselves.
Yeah, I'm gonna give myself a pay cut. I fought my whole life to get here.
As you think about it, that makes perfect sense. It really does. I mean, what at a certain point you make so much money that you can't spend it, and at a certain point to where you save so much that even when you pass it down, maybe the people, your children might not be able to spend all that money. So why not give it to somebody who needs it? I mean, the vast majority of these kids that are going to play football in college, they're not. They got into that school because of their ability to play football or their ability to play sports.
Here you go. You want to talk about the money, real quick. Here's the odds to make it pro. So if you're playing in high school basketball, baseball, and football,
it's 2% make it to college.
The odds to play in any Division I college let's talk football. So the odds of if you play at any college, it's 12 to 1.
12 to 1.
So for every 12 kids out there, one of you is going to play college football. For every 41 of you, one guy's going to play Division I football. So look at your if you're on a high school football team, there's 40 of you out there. Only one of you, by the odds, are good enough to play college Division I. 1 in 603 is the odds of going pro in football.
That is 0.1%.
Yeah, baseball is 1 in 764. Basketball is 1 in 1,860. And that number right there is why I'll tell you, pound for pound, all the people in the world between 5'11 and 6'5", 4'4", are probably the best actual basketball players in the world. I think there's a lot of 7-footers out there that can't don't have any basketball skills that are actually out on the court and stuff. But the odds of making it, so that means going pro 1 in 600 kids. So 600 kids in one. I guess that's close. That's about the NCAA's conversion right there. So, that's how many teams? 1 out of every 6 teams going to have one player out of every 6 college teams going to have a pro on it. Mm-hmm. So that means 599 kids, I guess, are not. They can't sell their shoes today.
Yeah.
Whatever you do, just light them shoes on fire. Wonder if you could do this, Carson, Terry. Can you show a video of you lighting your clothes on fire on YouTube and then make money off the video on YouTube?
No, because you joke about that, and do you not remember a couple years ago there was a kid who had a YouTube channel and it was monetized. The NCAA told him to shut it down while he was in college. What does that have to do with anything? Why do you? That's
the thing. You're cutting.
Too much. That's too much.
You're cutting off free speech and all kinds of.
Not even free speech.
That.
It's something that's completely separate.
How I can make money? It's a part-time job.
Yeah,
it's like them saying you can't work at McDonald's.
That's not even a part-time job. That's something. That's a hobby that he's lucky enough that he's been able to make money off of.
Yeah,
and you're gonna tell him
you can't sell baseball cards that you've been collecting. That's what it'd be like.
Come on, Terry. I know you want to say something.
Well, I'm just sitting here listening, and and you hit it right on the head just a while ago. What can you come in that you can put in place that's legit? Yeah. And I'm talking legit from a senior to a freshman.
Yeah.
Are we going to give them a bump up because you become a sophomore, and then you become a junior, and then you become a senior? Is that like a rate increase? Like every year I give you 2%? You know
like
what
a
I'm
scheduled
saying?
raise.
Yeah, you've got to come up with something.
That's a good point.
But
I didn't think, Terry, to get into the inflation part of the argument.
I like it.
I was not waiting for that.
Terry, the
this
economist.
Whole argument, we're talking about all this stuff.
Terry, the economist.
Terry's breaking it down his head.
I'm just sitting here listening to y'all.
Yeah, he did.
He went to inflation.
Terry, not only he also at West Lincoln he teaches civics.
Lou Dobbs over here.
Sometimes it's best to sit and listen and then give your advice. You know what I'm saying?
I think one of the biggest travesties about it all is, say, for example, the college basketball system. So your tuition, room, board, and all that stuff's paid for your regular season. So they don't pay for it. All that is paid for. So your team can go 0-30. You're not going to get more money because you didn't go to the NCAA and they didn't pay for it. So all that's extra because that's TV money. So everything is already paid for up until then. So everything that's made in the TV money, which is what most of it is just straight cash, homie, for the schools and institutions and coaches. And the coaches, some of them have bonuses tied into how far they go in the tourney.
Mm-hmm.
So they've got this bucket of money,
performance bonus, yeah.
And a coach, based on how much he goes during the tournament, gets part of that bucket of money.
But that goes even into the NFL. They have terms. If I do this, then they get more money. Yeah, I mean that's everything, and it's. I don't know when you start talking money and paying college players, and I know this is a if and ante because some people cannot afford it. You have a lot of kids who end up going into college now, and the first thing they do is get an insurance policy. Something happens to me.
That's a good idea.
If I was Jalen Moore, I wouldn't be playing today. I'm gonna be honest with you. If I was Jalen, running backs, think about the running backs. DeMarco Murray just retired after 7 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody isn't Adrian Peterson. Everybody isn't Emmitt Smith, and Barry Sanders quit after 9. Jim Brown quit after 8 or 9. So these running backs, every run you take in college, that's why you see some of these no names come out because you're like, well, maybe they probably didn't get a bunch of carries in college, and all of a sudden they're fresh and they're making these the practice squads. Jalen Moore. He's got a lot riding on it. He's already at Appalachian State. He's not like he's getting recruited to go to Alabama or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Playing against Penn State today? I mean.
And you also have to think about, and we're going to see this again this year, just like we saw last year and the year before, where some player, they make a bowl game, my name's Chubb, I'm not playing, you're on your own because I know I'm a top draft pick. I'm not going out here to play, and something to happen to me.
I'm not hurting my knee over the 41st participation trophy in the NCAA.
And that's going to happen.
The Poinsettia Bowl. All right, JP, it's time for a break. Wake up, little Susie. Wake up. I think he is. There he is. Hey, Canal.
I was ready to throw something.
Well, I was. There's about to be a piece of paper rattle that glass.
That was going to be a highlighter, boy.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back real quick. National championship picks. I was going to pull up today's games, folks. Sorry, but our internet is not going too good. It's college football. We're going national championship picks from the get-go. Or do you want to guess 4 teams, or would you rather just pick the national championship?
I'd rather go playoff.
Give me 4 teams going to make the playoffs, Terry.
4 teams that's going to make. Let's go next week. Let's do it 1 week later.
Well, today's week 1.
Come on, Terry.
Okay, I mean number 1, Alabama.
ESPN said there's 14 teams going to make it. You got to pick
Do I
it from
have to pick one of these 4?
You don't have to.
You don't have to.
North Carolina State.
North Carolina
State.
Terry's drunk.
It's East State.
If I have to pick off of this group, and I'm only going to take these 14 picks, Alabama would be 1. Penn State's going to be pretty strong. I'm not picking some of these.
You don't have to. Terry.
Well, I mean, I'm being Ohio State. I think they'll be good as soon as Meyer gets back.
Well, he shouldn't be back. But that's beside the point.
And I'm gonna take the Fighting Irish. Well, he should not be. I thought he should have got some banned for a year.
What you think? There's 5 Big Ten teams. Any of them going to get in?
No, I think Big Ten ends up beating each other up and they keep each other out. I'm gonna go.
That's what they did last year.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Alabama. Who else? Oklahoma will sneak in. Kyler Murray, Clemson, and probably another SEC team.
Whoever wins the SEC, because Alabama's not going to win it. They're getting it from 3rd or 4th.
Yeah,
so who do you think's going to win the SEC?
Man, I'll say Georgia again. I'll say Georgia comes back.
I got a quote. Clemson does not get in.
Oh, man.
North Carolina State beats Clemson this year.
Oh, Terry.
Hey, that could happen.
The year they won a national championship, they lost to who? Pitt? Right?
We should
Nathan
have been
Peterman.
2 years
Nathan
ago.
7
When
interceptions,
Clemson
Peterman.
won the national championship 2 years ago, we missed a field goal that would have knocked Clemson completely out of it.
All right. Time to go to break. We're going to come back and talk NFL. I've got a trivia question for you guys, kind of. It's not really a trivia question, but it's kind of a guess. I want you guys to think about during the break.
Right.
This was an online poll, Twitter poll, however official you want to take that.
Yeah.
Terry, you ready for this?
I'm listening.
The one athlete from any sport at any time that you could freeze in their prime and watch play, one game or forever, whichever you want to get. If you could just freeze in time and watch one athlete play at the top of their game, one game or one round or one season, however you feel about it, the one athlete you'd be like, hey, I want to see them at their best again. That we've in the past. I guess all these people are in the past. So think about that. We're gonna take a quick break. We'll be back in a few minutes on KTCBroadcasting.com.
They've got them all. At Renato Auto Mall in Shelby, they've got Fords, Chevrolets, Buicks, Toyotas, Nissans, Hondas, Kias, GMC trucks, and more. What are we talking about? We're talking about the huge used car selection at Renato Auto Mall. Before you buy, come see Renato Auto Mall in Shelby. And they are now your SUV headquarters. Over 50 to choose from, new and used. All makes, all models, and 10 to choose from, priced at under $10,000 at Renato Auto Mall. 4423 East Dixon Boulevard in Shelby, online at RenatoAutomall.com. When you need service on your automobile, do what I do and what most people around this area do. They take it to Rick's Automotive in Cherryville. They do it all at Rick's Automotive in Cherryville. Rick Walker and his staff is dedicated at providing you the best in automotive care, from an oil change to a tune-up to a full set of tires. Be sure to check out their tire specials before you buy. That's Rick's Automotive, 1001 East Main Street in Cherryville. Open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5:30. Just call 704-435-3801 for Rick's Automotive in Cherryville.
Check out what the Green Meadows Golf Club on Kelly Road in Mount Holly has to offer. On Wednesday, you can play all day for $28, including cart and green fee. And ladies, Wednesday is your day too. Ladies play and ride all day for only $15. To make your tee time, call the Green Meadows Golf Club at 704-827-9264. You'll love it. The Green Meadows Golf Club, located at 957 Kelly Road in Mount Holly. Come see what they have to offer.
Check out the monthly specials at the Cherryville Country Club, open to the public with no reservations required. It's prime rib the first Friday of each month, crab legs on the second Thursday and Friday of each month. It's steak and wine the third Thursday and Friday of each month, and fish camp night, fourth Thursday and Friday of each month. And don't forget about their Sunday buffet, 11 to 2, $16 for adults with discounts for kids. Plus, check out the Chicken on the Run bucket on Sundays. 8 pieces of chicken, 2 sides, and rolls for $14.50. Cherryville Golf and Country Club, Roy Acre Road, Cherryville. Heading out to the ball game? Then head first to Hometown Hardware in Kings Mountain and get your straw hats. You'll be cool under your new straw hat. And right now, take 50% off Hummingbird products. And of course, those Traeger grills. 7 models are on display. And check out the Traeger Grill Tailgater. Take $100 off. Now sale priced at $429. And get your Traeger wood-fired pellets and accessories too. For all of your hardware needs, see Howard Elmore at Hometown Hardware, 110 South Railroad Avenue, Kings Mountain. There's a new Kubota for every job, every harvest, every task. From zero-turn mowers to utility vehicles to tractors to construction equipment, Kubota fits the bill. Kubota products are engineered to work only 2 shifts, day and night. Kubota has tractors ranging from 18 to 168 horsepower. Whether you're moving tons of earth or just cutting your lawn, Kubota will never let you down. And check out their zero-turn mowers with decks from 42 to 60 inches. The Kubota Z-Series can handle any terrain. See the lineup today at Parker Farm Service, 126 Bessie Drive at the Highway 74 bypass Oak Grove Road intersection in Kings Mountain.
Good morning. Saturday Sports Talk brought to you by Campers Inn and RV. I want to say hello to the lawnmower man driving by our window out there. He's working hard, ain't he, Terry?
He works hard all the time. He got up yesterday at 4:30. He got out of here. He's almost like me because I got up at 4, and me and him both left. It was after 12.
Yeah. It was
PM.
late night for KTC, late start and everything. But we're running a little late. Well, of course, we'll go a little overtime, I guess, for a few minutes here. Got a couple of things to talk about. Got baseball, NFL to squeeze in here. It's just such a we didn't think it was going to be a big night in football, high school football. We ended up talking forever about that. But we like to, our early season on the college and NFL hadn't really started, so we don't have anything else to do but just talk about random stuff and fun stuff. But here's I gave you guys a task in the break.
Yes.
To name, this is the top 10 list, and name an athlete, if you could freeze at any time and you could just go back and watch one game and see them play or re-see them that you've seen before and watch them play forever, watch them play a game, season, however you want to put it. But top 10. Terry, do you have any guesses? I'm going to give you each 2 guesses on players in the top 10, then we'll go do the top 10. I don't want to waste too much time.
Whose top 10 is this?
This is a Twitter poll.
Oh,
okay.
This is an online Twitter poll from, I think it's Sports Illustrated is who did this. But
well, my number
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There's actually 13 because it was a tie for the last few spots.
Okay.
But give me 2 guesses that'll be on the list, and I'll tell you if people on the list.
Michael Jordan.
He is on the list. He is number 5.
Magic Johnson.
Nope.
But those would be my 2.
So Terry would like to watch Michael anytime. You got any more that you'd like to watch?
Oh yeah,
I mean,
but I know they're probably not on there.
Give me 2 more. I'll give you 4 guesses.
Larry Bird would be, but he's not on there.
Right.
And I guess if I would go, it would be Walter Payton.
He's not on here. Sweetness in there. All right, Carson. Guesses. Give me 2 guesses that you know will be on the list.
Okay.
Then give me 2 that you would want to see at any time.
2 that I know. Muhammad Ali.
Not on the list.
Not on the list.
I know.
Wow. That's. Oh boy. Barry Sanders.
He is number 4.
Okay, so we both got one. I'm going to name another one. Tiger Woods.
Tiger Woods is number 3
he would be
on the list.
We still guessing on the list, or is this?
Well, now Terry just started cheating. We was over with that. So Carson, 2 that you would personally want to watch.
2 that I'd personally
that you go back and watch anytime a season or a game or however you want to put it. Really,
I would like to see Sandy Koufax pitch.
Koufax.
I would really like to see Sandy Koufax pitch. And besides that, oh man. And this is a guy, I mean, both of these guys are significantly before my time. I mean, and I've always heard about how dominant he was in college. Ralph Sampson.
Definitely not on the list, but
yeah, no, that's personal. That's just something.
But this is any sport, right?
Yeah, and I want to. It's funny that you bring that up, Carson, and this will give some credence for Terry. And if you go on YouTube, there's a video of Terry needs to look it up one time. But they'll go on and this guy saying Larry Bird is the only dude that beat all the other dudes. He beat Dr. J and Moses. He beat Akeem and Ralph Sampson. He put Michael down in his early years. Yeah. He beat the Pistons in his early years. He beat the Lakers in his early years. Now, he lost 3 championships?
Yeah.
He lost 3 championships, but during all that time, at some point, he beat every other best player, best team of that era. Yeah. So, there's you something to crow about for your Boston Celtics. Couple of things. I'm going to make some notes. Carson mentioned something. I really wasn't even going to go there. I'd really go back to freeze time. I don't think people understand how good Ozzie Smith was at playing shortstop, do they, Terry? It was on AstroTurf.
No, yeah.
And he still had the ratings that he did. So think about how much faster that ball is bouncing through the infield and the range and ratings.
Well, Ozzie Smith is really the first one to really be okay with that short hop, especially on the AstroTurf where you're going to get a big hop. He had, I mean, you get it out of your hand fast.
Right.
You can play that hop, no problem.
He could throw from any angle, from any spot on the field. He could get to any ball. Just absolute amazing to watch defensively. And I never got to see him pitch. Terry, maybe you could say something. Bob Gibson.
Yeah. He's in his later years when I got to see him.
Right. He was just, from what everybody said, since you mentioned Koufax, I was going to say something about that. A couple of other ones, couple that are on the list. I don't think people understand, and it is so fresh. It still should be so fresh. How fast Michael Vick actually was.
Yes.
He's on this list at number 11. He was the fastest player on the football field at the time. Deion Sanders did not make the list, but Terry, anytime the TV was on and he was on the field, it was watching Deion time, wasn't it? He was on offense, defense, is Deion time.
Barry Bonds make this list?
No.
See, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I guess people that we would put in, like I said, that's an opinion poll.
Right. Well, see, people are going to say the steroids thing with Bonds.
Yeah.
If it wasn't a steroids year, Bonds was a doubles hitter that you really wasn't that exciting to watch. You didn't tune in. Number 2 on this list is who you tuned in to watch before all the steroid stuff, Ken Griffey Jr.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah.
He's number 2 on the list. He got a lot of the votes. He's right above Tiger on this. But Griffey, the swing, him and McGuire, when they come up to plate, because of their swings, at any time in their career, you could hit a home run.
Yeah.
At Bonds, you didn't do that for 17 years. You did it for 3 or 4 years. But the McGuires and the Griffeys, every time there was at bat, those first 10 years, I got to see this at bat. Couple of other ones. Let's see. Let me think. I'd like to see Richard Petty in his prime. I saw a couple of his late
Dale
races.
Earnhardt Jr.
I saw a lot of Dale Earnhardt.
Yeah.
I mean, if you guys want to know what Dale Earnhardt was, picture a more redneck Kyle Busch, a meaner and more redneck Kyle Busch, not afraid to wreck anybody in front of him.
Well, it was one of them things they always said, if number 3 got behind you, you were more worried about him than what you were doing.
To this day, my mother will still use Earnhardt as a verb.
Earnhardt.
Yes.
Well, I'll still use the phrase "Rubbin's racing" all the time.
Yeah.
And that that's, I know that's not from Earnhardt, but that's exactly what it makes me think about.
Yeah.
Couple others on the list there at the end, and a lot of people say this. If you ever saw the actual matches, Mike Tyson in his prime was just outstanding, ridiculous speed and power. That I don't know if we've ever seen.
I've never seen a guy that got in a ring that scared people before they ever started.
Besides the other guy that ran out of the ring a couple nights ago. Y'all see?
He didn't run out.
Yeah.
He didn't get paid. I'm right there, dude.
That's
If I'm not getting paid about to get my face beat in, I'm leaving. I'm not getting my face beat in for nothing.
Oh goodness. So a couple of the news and notes. Barry Sanders is number 4 on here, and I expect that because he was like the Michael Vick of running backs to me, where he was the fastest player on the field and he's the most electrifying you had to watch. But Terry, if it's 3rd and 5, who you giving it to, him or Emmitt Smith?
Ooh, I'm giving it to Barry. I'm sorry.
3rd and 5?
Yeah.
I'm not talking 3rd and 10 or 3rd and 12.
I'm still giving it to
Barry Sanders leads the NFL in all-time carries behind the line of scrimmage. Barry Sanders came out. I'm going to give you some information for you folks that don't know. Barry Sanders came out on 3rd down because he couldn't block or catch a pass. Barry Sanders was, like I said, the Michael Vick to me of his time, to where he was just, he was just so hard to touch and catch. But the thing about Emmitt, and I'll always say, what made him good, Coach Beam kind of alluded to it earlier, he avoided the hits, he avoided the injuries, but Emmitt had the same moves as Barry. He wasn't as fast in one line. But if it was, I got you, 3rd and 5, 3rd and 7, whatever that number was, he got one more yard than that. And I wish, and kind of, Marshall Faulk was a little bit like that, but he did it more in his pass catch too. Emmitt had a lot of pass catches as well. But the thing about it is that those guys, and I wish, and Jason Witten would be a perfect example of this, I wish they would keep first down stats. Because sometimes you don't need 12 yards, you need 7. And Jason Witten would get the 8, Emmitt Smith would get the 8, and that's a lot of the ways those work.
When I think of people, what you're talking there, I also think if you had to have somebody back there, who would you take it? And that's the reason I put Elliott in the same category as this other guy I'm getting ready to say. Because if I need yards, I need strength, I need people that's going to punish each other. Bo Jackson.
Bo Jackson is number 1.
Why didn't we think of that?
Bo Jackson was number 1
he would
in the
punish.
Bo Jackson was number 1. He was like Adrian Peterson, but a little bit better.
I mean, the reason
slightly better.
The reason
Peterson's really good. I don't want to slight Adrian.
I mean, the reason his career ended was because of how hard he ran.
Yeah, he broke his hip.
He literally pulled his own hip out of socket because of how hard he ran.
So here's the top 10. Outside of the top 10 are Michael Vick, Mike Tyson, and Randy Moss, all tied at 11.
I like that.
Now here's where it's going to get fun. These next 5 for some of y'all. Number 10, Dirk Nowitzki. He ties actually at number 9 with the great one, Wayne Gretzky.
How is he not higher on that list,
So
man?
Gretzky and
Wayne
Dirk.
Gretzky, if he had never scored a goal, is still the greatest point scorer in NHL history.
Dirk is probably one of the best 7-footers I've ever seen play.
Best
for
European,
everything
best European
that he
player
does.
ever,
Yes,
I think.
Ginobili retired too, the best South American player.
Yeah.
I would say ever, but you can't. Everybody, there was some people saying Manu over Dirk, and I love Manu. He's he's one of my favorite players of all time. But you just can't go there with Dirk because that would be slighting Dirk by so much.
I mean, Dirk won a championship
by himself. Who did he beat again? The one, not two, not three Miami Heat. Just smoked them. Here's where it gets fun, boys. Number 8, all time. I want to watch them play in their prime. Freeze time right now. Let's stop it, Terry. Tony Romo.
Oh, my God.
Tony Romo. And all I got to say for anybody who ever saw the game is the Buffalo Bills game. When I think he threw 5 interceptions and still won. And it was the most exciting football game I've ever seen. Nick Folk kicked a field goal to win. And I think my wife said something about, we might name our kid Nick Folk. Then he missed like 3 the next week. But Tony Romo is number 8, right above Wayne Gretzky and Dirk Nowitzki, Carson. Get some on that one. Here's where it gets really weird. Number 6, Kobe. A lot of people like that. That's not that surprising. And here's the only one we hadn't named on the list. Number 5. Carson's going to fall out of his seat on this one.
Oh, God.
Derrick Rose.
No, I get that. Like, first 5 years.
Somebody read it specifically. In their prime.
Yeah, no. First 5 years, Derrick Rose was special.
Yeah.
I mean,
he won MVP.
Youngest MVP ever.
Yeah, right.
Derrick Rose was on track.
Was he not Russell Westbrook, basically?
Yeah, he was Russell Westbrook before Russell Westbrook.
But without maybe the attitude as much. I compare their games pretty much exactly the same.
Yeah.
Couple other things let's get into real quick before we get off here. We got NASCAR today. We've got Clemson. We've got Tar Heel football. Braves, Carson. Real quick update on them while I'm pulling up the standings.
Braves last night lost 3-2 to the Pirates. That was just, to be quite honest, it was a game that the bullpen gave away. You got 40-man call-ups today, though, so September you're gonna Terry. It's about time that the Royals bring up the farm. See what you got at this
we
point.
played Baltimore last night and we won.
Is Tebow going to get a call up?
We're not going to finish.
Or did he get hurt? Is he out for the season?
I don't know if he's out for the season. I saw where he got hurt earlier in the year.
I wish I remembered
off the top of my head.
Indians in first place, Tom. I hope it's Indians and Cardinals in the World Series. Cardinals 3.5 back of the Cubs, but they're leading the wild card.
Mm-hmm.
They've won 11 straight series. 11 straight
get you in there. What Kansas City used to do, win your series.
Yep. Bears trade Khalil Mack to the Raiders. That's news on that.
For 2 first-rounders and apparently more.
Romo he moves on to a qualifier. He's actually joined trying to basically make the PGA Tour. He's actually going through qualifying school and all this stuff. Romo, he barely made it. He actually had a bad hole that actually knocked him out, and then the guy in front of him got disqualified, and so Romo had to hit like a 12-foot putt to win, to get in, and he did.
That's the most clutch thing he's ever done in his athletic career.
Here's something. By the way, he's the number 1 all-time fourth quarter QBR.
2-4 record in the playoffs.
Number 1. Cam's 3-4.
Well, I
don't know. Okay. Real quick though, what happened? Also on that, he's got a playing partner where he plays in these doubles tournaments, and they interviewed him the other day. Here's something you didn't know about Tony Romo's golf game: his putter. Is Tiger Woods' putter. Not the one Tiger won 14 championships with. It was the one when it's his Nike putter.
Yeah, that they don't make anymore.
That he switched to. Romo went to Tiger's house playing and practicing and hanging out, and he said, "I'm gonna take the." Romo was hitting it so good, and Tiger said, "Go ahead and keep it." He said, "That's the only." He said, "I've only got one that's untouchable, and it's the Scotty Cameron 14 major championship one." But Romo putting with Tiger's putter. His playing partner, Carson, he came out and they had an article about it where he was breaking down his game to see if he'd actually make the tour. He said, quote, Tony Romo is the best non-professional golfing putter he's ever seen in his life.
Wow.
He said he just drains them from all over the place. And then, like I said, he hit a 12-footer yesterday to make the cut, actually, in his first tournament. He said he was talking about the course, real tight course they're playing. It's one of those high risk, high reward type places. So if he had a couple of bogeys here and there that kind of got him back. He about knocked himself out of it because of that. He said he used to, before the back surgery, he used to drive further like Dustin Johnson and them. After the back surgery, he's still PGA average.
Yeah.
But he was smoking at 130 mile per hour driver speed. Now he's back at 120 basically. All right. There's some notes on that. I was trying to pull up these baseball standings real quick. Braves still in first, Cardinals in third. Next week, guys, on Saturday's show, the What's Up Shopper, my preview will be coming out. NFL preview. We'll have all the picks I'll have all the games picked I'm not going to go through game by game next week, but we're going to go. I'll have all the records for all the teams, my predictions for next year. Been sending out some previews, some of the guys, and ribbing some of these guys and getting going for that. Next week, though, Panthers and Cowboys will be on KTC Broadcasting. Terry, I wrote on the board yesterday 6-3. I don't know which team's going to win this game, Carson, but that's my prediction, 6-3. How do you feel about that one?
I don't think it's going to be that low scoring, but
I don't see how either team's going to score a point.
I'm with you though. I don't. That's
Kings Mountain's got better receivers than both of them teams.
It's a toss up, man. It really is.
Toss-up.
I think the final score will be 21-15. I don't know which way it's going to go, but that's what I'm going to.
Final score will be Dallas 20, Carolina 16. And for y'all Panther fans out there, and I know you're listening.
Boy.
I know you're listening. It's
I know you're
WWE promo.
That's it.
I will come into your house.
The last 4 times we've come to Carolina, we come away with a W.
That's right.
Just understand that.
How about them
Terry
Cowboys?
is like
Terry
would be the
Reinhardt?
best heel ever.
Yeah, he would.
man.
Wrestling heel. All right, we got to go. We're way over time, way over late. Have a happy Saturday, happy weekend. Kevin Hastings, Carson Doherty, Terry Reinhardt, and John Prather. Way over time today. We got to go. Bye. Have a good day.
It's
KTC
time
Broadcast.
now for the news. A new radio show is taking the nation by storm. It's called This is the 60s, with the best music from the best decade. And, well, thank you. Who are you? Well, I'm J.J. Wilson, and I'm the host of This is the 60s. This is the 60s, with the best music from the best decade. News headlines, pop culture corner, and more. But I was going to say all that. Get out of my news booth, certainly.
This is the 60s, Friday mornings from 10 a.m. till 12 noon on the Balls, WOHS, AM and FM in Shelby, WLON in Lincoln. They've got them all. At Renato Auto Mall in Shelby, they've got Ford, Chevrolets, Buicks, Toyotas, Nissans, Hondas, Kias, GMC trucks, and more. What are we talking about? We're talking about the huge used car selection at Renato Auto Mall. Before you buy, come see Renato Auto Mall in Shelby. And they are now your SUV headquarters. Over 50 to choose from, new and used, all makes, all models, and 10 to choose from, priced at under $10,000 at Renato Auto Mall, 4423 East Dixon Boulevard in Shelby, online at RenatoAutomall.com. When you shop our local advertisers, be sure to tell them you heard it on the radio. That way they'll know that their radio dollars they spend works for them. Even in today's fast-moving world, radio remains the leading media to reach more people. 93% of Americans listen to AM/FM radio over the air. TV viewership is 89%, smartphone use is 83%, and personal computer use is 50%. So if you're a business owner, reach more people with the power of radio. If you don't tell it, you can't sell it. See the power of radio. WOHS Shelby, WLON Lincoln, WCSL Cherryville. Online at ktcbroadcasting.com.
Isolated and alone?
That's how millions of Americans feel while experiencing a mental health crisis.
Need to talk? Our providers love to listen.
Call us now at 1-888